long time and seen its share of big games. For the Michigan Wolverines, perhaps, the Big House is college football's biggest home field advantage.
I certainly feel privileged to be the head coach at Michigan. I think it's one of the great jobs in coaching. And every time I go into that stadium, it's a tremendous thrill. And it's something that's very difficult to describe. But it's great to know that you go in every game expecting to win. And when you don't win, it's very, very disappointing. But to me, that's part of what makes it such a great place to coach and play.
Today, another 111,000 will fill this grand old stadium for number 5 Michigan and Rice.
And welcome back if you're watching on ESPN. Welcome if you're watching on the Deuce. You should have been with us an hour ago or on the other network. Guys, quick thoughts on Pitt, Penn State?
Well, I think Pitt comes into this football game with an inexperienced quarterback. It will hurt them against a talented Lions defense. And on offense, I think the Lions will really open it up. Already 16 different players have scored touchdowns. Today, they'll just continue to show that depth, win big.
Boy, I like that Michigan's quarterback, Tom Brady. I don't see why they even take him out of the game for one play. Michigan wins big by 40 over Rice.
Some other games to keep your eye on today. We haven't talked about this, but Houston visits Alabama. The Tide kind of struggled with Vanderbilt. Houston blew out Rice. The Love coach, Kim Helton, he's got a pretty decent team. It's a very important game for Alabama's season and for Mike Dubose. And keep an eye on Morgantown, West Virginia. The Mountaineers have never started 0-2 under Don Nehlen, but here comes Travis Prentice. Miami University out of the MAC. It's been a success story so far this season. If they can get that win, Lee, sets up a potential Marshall-Miami battle of unbeatens in October.
We should be there, right?
Yeah,
okay,
amen.
I'm telling you, that's my upset special of the week. Miami of Ohio will upset West Virginia. Here's my picks. Florida State and Nebraska win, but closer than the experts think. Virginia, Ohio State also win. And my not-so-fast special is, again, Purdue over Notre Dame.
Well, see, I think Notre Dame's going to win this football game against Purdue because of the ball control of their offense. Kevin Rogers does a great job of play calling, and I think they win the football game. Watch them to create turnovers and come up with some interceptions. Georgia Tech, love Joe Hamilton. I love this team, the direction they're going. Unfortunately, Florida State is the most powerful team in college football. I think the Noles will win big tonight. And I think Ohio State, they come back home after playing very little emotion, come back home, play an emotional football game, great defense, and I think they're going to show the ability to score from throwing the football down the field. I think they win big tonight.
So Miami wins and game day in Miami. Huh?
That's what I said.
That's not the Miami with the beach.
Yeah,
There's no beach there.
Oxford.
Okay.
That's where they
I think
study.
it's a great Final Four. You got Indiana against North Carolina, UConn football against Kentucky. I'm going to go with Coach Knight and Coach Tubby today.
I like Indiana to beat
You like
North Carolina.
Indiana?
Yeah.
All right. Virginia, Clemson, any thoughts on that game?
I like Virginia.
Virginia. You like Virginia. Tommy Bowden to go 0-2 in the ACC.
Exactly right.
All right. We thank you for joining us. Stand by for some football here. Michigan in that game in the Big House, they have to avoid the letdown. It's a sandwich game for the Wolverines in between the big game with Notre Dame before they visit Syracuse and Rice. So they showed they had some problems last week. They had 5 fumbles. Now, for Penn State, well, you got 95,000 in Happy Valley, so 200,000 between those two games. So on ESPN2, it's Rice, Michigan, Pitt, Penn State coming up after this break on ESPN. Enjoy your day.
They built Michigan Stadium in 1927. It's been filled since. It will be filled today for the Rice Owls. Last week's win over Notre Dame has Michigan sky high. And Lloyd Carr has every coach's dream. 2 quarterbacks who can really play. Drew Hensen is the youngster. With mobility and a rifle arm, he might be Michigan's future. Tom Brady, the polished veteran, with a Big Ten title on top of his resume. They're both on display today. Number 5 Michigan and Rice. And once again, this grand old stadium will be filled again. The Rice Owls and number 5 Michigan. Last week, a bubbling cauldron of maize and blue as Michigan beat Notre Dame in what Lloyd Carr called the most emotional and physical game that he's coached at Michigan. Hi, everyone. Rich Waltz. Welcome to the Big House, if you will. Lloyd Carr was ecstatic about the game last week, but if you think that's what he told his team, you're very wrong. On Monday, it went like this. Gentlemen, nice win. Now let's get ready for Rice, and let's avoid a letdown. I'm joined by Gino Torretta. Gino, how do they avoid the letdown?
They have to refocus all their energy on an option team. That's going to be very difficult for Michigan, but they clearly outmatched the Rice Owls, so look for them to have a big game today as long as they stay focused.
Also look for two very good quarterbacks. Tom Brady, Drew Hensen. Lloyd Carr told us this is not a platoon. These guys are fighting for a job.
He loves both these kids' talent. Tom Brady and Drew Hensen are very good quarterbacks. It almost seems to us in talking to him that he's treating his first 3 football games as a preseason to the Big Ten. So look for whoever plays better to be the best quarterback and the starter for Michigan the rest of the season, Rich.
You know, preparing for Rice, their triple option, Ken Hatfield runs it as well as anyone, is very, very difficult for a defensive coordinator. Chad Richardson is their quarterback. What will we see from this quarterback and from this offense?
Chad Richardson is not going to beat you throwing the football. He runs a 4.440. He is going to beat Michigan by making the correct decisions in this Beer offense. It is a very difficult offense to defend. Michigan's defense practiced without a football to learn all their keys versus the option. So it should be a good game today.
Michigan Stadium full. The Rice Owls are in town for number 5 Michigan. Let's head back to the studios and Reese Davis.
All right, guys, thanks a lot. John McAvick, Rodney Gilmore joining me. And Michigan, of course, one of 7 top 25 teams going with the 2-quarterback system. That's not even counting Syracuse and Cal. And LSU's trying to play 3 down there. We've got a bevy of good running backs here, too. You still have to run the ball, John.
Well, the thing that people don't recognize is how many good runners there are this year. The focus has been on Ron Dane. Of course, he only played half the week last week, 135 yards. Rod, I don't know how much he'll play this week either.
Dane's a good one, but there's some other backs that are pretty good as well. You know, Deshaun Foster at UCLA, you'll see him tonight, great player. How about Sean Alexander at Alabama? He played great last week, and I don't think there's anybody better than Jamal Lewis. I love the way he plays.
How about the newcomer, my newcomer, Dan Alexander, University of Nebraska? I think he will replace D'Angelo Evans by the end of the year.
Wow.
We'll keep an eye on that for you, and we'll keep an eye on everything that's going on for you the rest of the afternoon. Cut-ins coming up. Halftime, we'll be back here to wrestle about the 2-quarterback system, maybe out on the studio floor. But shortly, Rice and Michigan from the Big House in Ann Arbor. That's coming up after the break.
Back in Ann Arbor, Rice and number 5 Michigan. A little triple option look from Rice, a guy that ran a little option, our authority on the option today. Don McPherson. Donnie?
Well, Rich, it's no question. Rice comes into Michigan a bit unmatched, overmatched. But Rice runs option football, like you said, and that means ball control. We talked to the coaches, the things they have to do. They must get 5 yards on first down. They can't get in long yard situations. They must score at least 27 points, and they have to hold the ball for at least 35 minutes. They do these things, and they have a shot. If not, their first trip to the Big House can be a long day.
Ken Hatfield runs this triple option as well as anyone in college football today. His 21st season as a head coach, he had success with it at Air Force, Arkansas, and Clemson. The weather, gorgeous. Little bit of a crosswind right now. Last week it was exceedingly hot in this stadium, and when Rice took on Houston down in Houston, it was very humid. Lloyd Carr in his 5th season, of course, the coach of the year with that storybook 1997 year. And he was apprehensive about this Rice offense in our meetings yesterday. Hayden Epstein will kick it away. From the 5, Dan Dawson, the return. He's also a linebacker for these Rice Owls. All right, let's talk triple option here. Gino Torretta, Chad Richardson, the senior. How do you measure the success of a quarterback like this?
Well, in the option, it's not going to be how many yards he throws for. It's going to be how successful he is running the football. He runs a 4.440. What kind of decisions is he going to make on the pitch? Who's unblocked by Rice and things like that? It's not going to be with his arm. It's going to be with his feet.
And a one-back set to open. And Richardson hit and drops at the 22. No gain on the play. Our Dell starting lineups, the Owls come in at 0-1. They lost last week to Houston. Leroy Bradley is one of 2 halfbacks that will play in the triple option. 92 yards last week against Houston. The wide receivers don't get a whole lot of looks, but they must block in this scheme. Up front, the leader of the offensive line, Neil Gray. He's a senior out of Mesquite, Texas. Straight ahead go the Owls. Jamie Tyler, the fullback, on the carry. Michigan's defense, very good. Rob Renas, the captain. Linebackers, talented as well. Ian Gold and James Hall are both second-team All-Big Ten picks. 20 starts for Gold in his Michigan career, and the safeties are the strength of the secondary. Tommy Hendricks, a great game last week, and Dwayne Patman, one of the harder hitters in the Big Ten Conference. On third down, Richardson, a quarterback draw, and he's across the 30, out to the 31-yard line. Richardson attempted 10 passes last week and completed 2.
Rich, we saw, as Don McPherson pointed out, they need 5 yards on first down, and the reason is they can't get in 3rd and 8, 3rd and 7, because Rice is not a throwing football team. So the option very many times does not get 7, 8 yards on a run.
Travis Hale to punt it away for the Owls. He shanked it but got a good roll. Diallo Johnson will let it come to rest at the 28-yard line. Tom Brady did everything you would want from a starting quarterback last week. 17 of 24, 197 yards in 8 series. Michigan had to punt just once. No turnovers from this young man.
No turnovers. That was big, Rich. But I think what Lloyd Carr was looking for is more efficiency in the red zone. They had an opportunity to score about 53 points last week and didn't come up with that many. He really wants a lot more points if they get in the red zone, and I think they may look to Hensen to do that.
Aaron Shea in motion. Anthony Thomas on the first carry is across the 40 to the 41-yard line. Jason Hebert made the stop. Starting lineups are Dell starting lineups for Michigan. Anthony Thomas, lest we forget, 138 yards last week on 32 carries against the Fighting Irish. A coming out party for David Terrell as well. 8 catches, 115 yards against the Fighting Irish. And Jeff Backus and Steve Hutchinson have been together since their freshman season. They make a very, very good left side of that offensive line. Thomas again, and he's stopped by Wesley Kubish, one of the Rice linebackers. Rice's defense was outstanding against Houston. In fact, Houston had just 8 first downs in that ball game. Up front, Judge Smith, one of the guys to look for, out of Plano, Texas. A linebacking trio. Dan Dawson does it all. At 6'2", 200, he also returns kickoffs and punts. Jason Hebert, probably the best defensive back in that Rice backfield. A quick throw. Marcus Knight with the catch. And Knight is caught at the 48-yard line. Josh McMillan made the stop. Gino, sometimes Rice's offense is the best friend for Rice's defense. They control the ball on offense, so the defense can be very, very effective at times.
They have to control the ball to win this football game. They're overmatched physically on both sides of the ball. Rice in this first series, they're bringing 8, 9 guys up to the line of scrimmage, begging Michigan to throw the football, and Michigan is still able to run the ball.
Shea in motion. On third down, flags go down. And Michigan, I think, will lose 5 yards. Steve Newman, our referee.
Prior to the snap, false start on the offense. 5-yard penalty remains third down.
A Big Ten crew. In the Houston game, Houston not only had just 8 first downs, Gino, they did not have a first down in the final 40 minutes of the game.
Well, the big thing last week with Rice, they only turned the ball over 14 times last year, and they had 8 fumbles and lost 6 of them last week. That's not how an option football team wins the ball game.
shotgun for Brady on 3rd down. Lots of time. Man wide open, and it's caught down at the 32-yard line. Marcus Knight, the senior. 26 yards, Brady tonight.
That last play shows how outmatched Rice is by the defensive line. Michigan gives Brady all the time in the world to throw this football. He's just sitting there, getting his feet set, waiting for one of his receivers to come open, and the Rice secondary doesn't have a chance on that play. If they're going to give Brady that much time for Knight to get open.
Thomas over the left side to the 27-yard line. Wesley Kubish made the stop. .32 carries, 138 yards. I don't think Lloyd Carr would like him to get over 30, maybe not for the rest of the year.
In an ideal situation, I think you'd like your tailback to get 25 to 30 carries max. Michigan can't expect to win a national championship with Anthony Thomas carrying the ball 32 times every single week.
2nd down, 8. Thomas tripped up on a nice play by Dan Dawson, the sophomore linebacker. Roger Hinshaw, the defensive coordinator, talked an awful lot about Dawson yesterday.
He's their best player, Rich. Not only is he the outside linebacker, he's the punt returner and the kick returner. And you really don't see that in college football much. I think Michigan, what they're doing here in the opening drive, they're coming out in a lot of different formations. I don't know if this is to mix up their opponents the rest of the season, but I think it's throwing Rice's defense off with the one-back offense.
Thomas behind Brady on 3rd and 7. Again all day. Man wide open. Marquise Walker stopped short of the 1st down. Wesley Kubish and Dan Dawson made the stop.
Nice play by Rice's secondary there to come up. They allow the completion, but they rally around the ball and don't give up the 1st down.
The crowd wants Michigan to go for it. Dan Dawson says bring it on. And so Michigan on a 4th down and 2. The Wolverines' initial possession of this football game.
Rich, and Lloyd Carr told us yesterday that early on 4th down, they may go for it because of the option offense controlling the ball so much time during the game.
Thomas, he is hit, and I don't think he has it. And the Rice Owls have risen up and stopped the Wolverines.
Big play, big play. That's going to gain a lot of confidence from Rice's defense.
Wesley Kubish and Dan Dawson on the stop.
Just a Michigan ISO, and the Michigan defensive line doesn't get any push, and then you see the secondary, and Hebert comes up and makes a nice play.
And now the Rice offense will try to control the football a little bit more than their first possession. It was 3 and out to begin with. The give is to Leroy Bradley around the right side. And he's out to the 25-yard line. That's a gain of 4. And that's a win for the Rice offense.
That is a win. That's their goal on offense, to gain at least 4, maybe 5 yards, because it gives them great situations where they can throw the ball for short yardage and also pick up 3 or 4 yards every single play in this option game.
All marked at the 25-yard line, where it's 2nd down 6.
This play goes nowhere. Tommy Hendricks makes the stop on Mike Gingrich. It's a loss of a couple.
Rich, the option offense can't have plays like that. They have to all be positive yards or 0 yards gained on the play. They can't ever give up yards.
Yardage under Ken Hatfield. You can see the rushing yardage. And Rice has made a pretty good living as a running team, as has Hatfield as a running coach throughout his career.
It's a very difficult offense to teach and option. There's only 4 teams in college football playing it right now. On
3rd down, Jamie Tyler is swallowed up at the 26-yard line.
Carried by number 37, Jamie Taylor. Rob Renis led the defenders. James Hall assisted.
Rob Renis made the stop. And so far, it looks like the adjustments Michigan has made to this triple option have been effective ones.
They've been effective. I think David Lee, the offensive coordinator for Rice, he told us yesterday that he wanted to throw the ball more on first down. That's 2 drives right there. They haven't attempted a pass yet. I think they need to get Michigan off balance a little more to have a shot at winning this football game.
Travis Hale at his 11. Diallo Johnson at his 33. Flag down, a clip, a block to the back. This one's coming back. Adam Williams made the stop for Rice.
Those kind of penalties hurt your offense. Right there, Michigan could get the ball at midfield, but because of the block, they're minus 15 yards. That's 15 more yards Michigan offense has to go to score a touchdown.
And it wipes out a 19-yard return. Those were the types of mistakes that Michigan did not make last week in their win over Notre Dame.
Illegal block in the back during the return on the offense. 10 yards from the spot of the foul. First down.
And with that, we'll take a timeout. Rice and Michigan are scoreless.
ESPN2's presentation of college football is brought to you by Toyota. Every day belongs to you. Make it count. And by AXA Advisors. AXA Advisors, building futures.
Michigan, second possession. Rich Waltz, Gino Torretta, Don McPherson from Michigan Stadium. Penalties were big last year, not last week. Today they already have a couple. Movement, flags.
Rich, this is exactly what Lloyd Carr was talking about. His team needs to focus. They can't have these penalties. They have to improve every week for them to have a shot of going through the Big Ten undefeated and winning a national championship. They can't have stupid penalties. It doesn't matter who they're playing.
Lloyd Carr talked about this Rice team as an opportunity for his football team to improve from week 1 to week 2. So far, we haven't seen that improvement. Brady airs it out for Marcus Knight, who's there, but can't make the catch. And a nice job on the corner by Josh McMillan, the junior out of Richwood, Texas.
Rice is really putting their secondary on islands. They're coming up with 8- and 9-man fronts, and they're putting the corners have to play these wideouts man on man, and they're outmatched. They're better athletes at the University of Michigan than at Rice, but hey, it's working so far.
Brady on second down. A nice throw and catch by Walker at the 42-yard line. McMillan on the coverage. Not enough for the first down. And Michigan again is faced with a long third down.
It was a nice throw and catch by Brady there. Rice's defense, they're really mixing it up, which is good, but they may give up a few big plays here with blitzing so much.
Mike DeBoard, the offensive coordinator of Michigan, told us against this defense, you have to be patient, but maybe take some shots. He's thrown long once. This time he gets it to Walker, who's got the first down. And he's down to the 37-yard line. Jason Hebert made the stop, a 20-yard pickup. Walker, the sophomore out of Syracuse.
Nice patience in the pocket, Rich, by Brady. He sat there and waited for his receiver to come open on a little crossing route. And then you see Walker make a nice play with the ball after he catches it.
Mike DeBoard, right smack dab in your living room. Thomas hit at the 35, and the Owls have 4 or 5 guys on top of him. Wesley Kubish made the initial hit.
Jason Hebert assistant.
Kubish, a surprise starter. Rashard Pittman normally starts at that linebacker spot. He has a sore knee, so Kubish gets the start today, and he's already made 3 tackles. Pitch to Thomas. Inside the 30, and he has the first down at the 26-yard line. Jason Hebert made the stop.
The front 4 of Michigan, if they play like they're capable, they should own the line of scrimmage against the Rice Owls. Here you'll see the offensive line make a nice seal. The fullback Shea make a nice block on Dawson, and Thomas makes a nice play. Nice little run up for a lot of yards there.
Seven carries, 28 yards. He's already on pace to break that 32 carry mark, and he gets another. Bouncing outside, he's dropped. Travis Ortega made the stop.
To Anthony Thomas. Jason Hebert on the stop. Brandon
If Rice
Green,
keeps playing defense like they have these first couple drives, it could be a long game for Michigan. There's only 4 minutes 53 seconds left in the first quarter, and there's no score. That's exactly what Rice wants in this ball game. They want to go to the fourth quarter just close to Michigan.
On 2nd and 10, flags are down. The Wolverines may have moved again.
Ball start prior to the snap on the offense. 5-yard penalty, 2nd down.
This could be a long day for referee Steve Newman as well. Later on today on ESPN2, college football continues. South Carolina and Georgia. Lou Holtz looking for his first win as the Gamecock head coach. And then at 8 Eastern, number 23 Texas visits Rutgers. For more, log on to ESPN.com, part of the Go Network, go.com. Play action, Brady, lots of time, and his throw caught and completes. Marcus Knight kept the feet in, and it looks like he has a first down.
Nice
Steve
throw.
Hutchinson lost his lid.
Nice throw and catch by Brady, but this is all as a result of the offensive line giving Brady all the time in the world to throw the football.
It's a 1st and 10 for Michigan.
Hutchinson and Backus on the left side. They've been starting 3 consecutive years. That's unheard of in college football. When you only have 4 years to play, here you say, look how tough he is. His helmet flies off, and he's still blocking his guy.
Coral Springs, Florida. Hutchinson, a 2-time All-Big Ten pick. This is Thomas. He's down to the 12-yard line.
To Anthony Thomas.
Jason Hebert, Wesley Kubish, along with Rashard Pittman on the stop.
Rice is really flying around on defense, giving Michigan a lot of different looks in the secondary. They keep playing like this, like I said, it could be a long, long game for them.
One of the keys for Rice's defense to continue to play like this, though, is their offense possessing the football, which they have not done yet in 2 drives. Brady, quick throw, caught by Terrell, and he's down to the 8-yard line. Adrian Sadler on the coverage.
David Terrell. Adrian Sadler made the stop.
Terrell, who last year kind of lived in the shadow of Ty Streets, who had 67 catches, 8 catches against Notre Dame.
Ball to 7, 2nd down. 3rd down.
3rd down. The Wolverines must get to the Rice 4. Brady to the end zone. And Terrell runs out of room. 4th down and 3. Lloyd Carr went for 4th down on an earlier drive. Gino, it looks like he's going for it again.
Rich, it doesn't look like the Michigan offense is focused. They have 4 penalties against them early. and they're not on cue. The offensive line is doing a good job, but Brady's off. That's where penalties come into play in this game.
Check that. Jeff Delverne has raced onto the field. The Wolverines took a while to make their minds up. Delverne is on, and he'll attempt the field goal. He was 4 of 5 last week against Notre Dame, and he hits this one from 24 yards out. The junior who got a scholarship on Monday after his performance against the Fighting Irish. Michigan on the board, but maybe a moral victory for the Rice Owls. Michigan scores first against Rice. Let's go down below. Don McPherson. Donnie?
You know, Rich, the size and speed differential between these two teams is very obvious. But what is also obvious is that Rice is playing very disciplined defense. That's what's enabled them to keep Michigan out of the end zone. They're flying to the football, and these guys are right where they need to be on every play.
Hey, Donnie, you run a lot of option. What's wrong with Rice's option right now? How come they're not moving the football?
Well, I think the big problem that they have right now is the fact that Michigan is just a lot bigger than they are up front. It's hard for them to move people out of the way. They need to stay with the option, though. They don't have a chance in the power game. They tried that a little earlier. They need to stay with the option where there's a little bit more deception. On that one play when they got 4 on first down, it was a deception play. That's what they need to stick with.
Hayden Epstein getting sent to kick it away. Dan Dawson deep. Epstein, who had knee surgery in early June, but still has a strong leg. Dawson across the 25 and out of bounds at the 26-yard line. Rice on top, or rather Michigan on top. Rice gets the ball next.
Tickets are priced at $19.50.
So that's where they get the other 4,000. The capacity of the stadium is listed at 107,000, but actual attendance is usually announced at 111,000. Straight ahead goes Jamie Tyler. Let's go to the studios. Reese Davis. Reese?
All right, Rich, let's get you up to date on a couple of things. Ball State and Wisconsin. Badgers had just recorded a safety on the free kick. After that, here comes Nick Davis again. Took a punt back last week. He's stealing carries from Ron Dane. That's what Ron Gilmore keeps telling me anyway. Davis taking it all the way to the house. Badgers on top of Ball State by a count of 12-0. Over on ESPN, Pittsburgh and Penn State. Nittany Lions started off a little sluggish on offense. Rashard Casey in there at quarterback. He'll roll out and find Mike Saramelli. Touchdown. Nittany's up 7-0.
Rice keeps it on the ground.
37, Jamie Tyler.
Out to the 30-yard line. Jamie Tyler, the fullback, and it's a 3rd down. Only 18 yards for Rice right now. And Gino, this 3rd and 5 illustrates the importance of 1st and 10 to Rice.
It does, but I think with the yards, that's a big discrepancy in yards, but it's only 3-0. That's exactly the way Rice wants this ball game to.
Richardson goes down in the arms of Josh Williams. He'll lose 5 yards.
This is exactly what the option does. They will not block everybody on the Michigan defensive line and let a guy come free. Richardson is trying to pitch off Williams, but he can't get rid of the ball because he penetrates so fast. That's why Michigan is a top 5 team in the country.
4th down. Ball at 26.
Size and speed, the difference right now. The Rice offense. Travis Hale again just got that one away. Deala Johnson at the 30-yard line. Slips one, but not two. Lost the ball, and I think Rice may have it. The Owls feel they have it, but the officials will say the ground caused the fumble. And as we know, Gino, the ground cannot cause a fumble.
The ground cannot. From up here, it looked like it was a fumble, though. This is just another mistake that Michigan's running. You never want the ball on the ground in a football game.
Oh, it's loose,
That ball
Gino.
is out. That's a fumble. That's a fumble. Michigan got a big break, and Rice does not need Michigan to get any big breaks like they just got right there.
Drew Hensen is in at quarterback for his first series. He has good mobility and a strong right arm and a man wide open. It's David Terrell. Terrell to the 30. And what a huge sequence for Rice. Not getting the call on the fumble. And a big play of 34 yards as a result.
This is exactly what Lloyd Carr loves about Hensen. He can get out of the pocket. He has great mobility, and he has a strong arm. You see a play fake to Thomas on the right side and a rollout. It's a nice pass. Nice pass to Terrell. He picks up some big yards off just a simple play-action rollout.
Final moments, first quarter. Our first look at the sophomore, Drew Hensen. Thomas inside the 30.
Ball carried by Anthony Thomas.
Jason Hebert made the stop.
Joe Bob Thompson on the stop along with Jason Hebert.
Joe Bob Thompson also in on the hit. Blink and you missed it. The first quarter is done. Rice and Michigan from Michigan Stadium. The Wolverines on top. Gino, another look at a huge break for Michigan.
Well, Rice, if they get this turnover, they're on the 30, knocking on the door of Michigan to at least score and maybe get a field goal, maybe a touchdown. Instead, one play later, Michigan's knocking on their door. They're at the 28-yard line going in. Big turn of events right there.
Tough to see how they missed that call. He was in midair when he lost it. Thomas on the reverse. Terrell. And Rice did a fine job of keeping Terrell outside the 20-yard line. Jarrett Irwin made the stop short of the first down.
Tackled by Hebert along with Irwin.
Drew Hensen, the sophomore, is the wealthiest member of this Wolverine team. $2.5 million contract for the New York Yankees saw to that. Played baseball in the Florida State League this summer and played very well. He's a top infield prospect for the Yankees. Thomas inside the 20s got the first down for the Wolverines. And he's part of what Lloyd Carr says is not a platoon system. And there's not a controversy. Not yet. Hensen had a very good year on the Yankee Farm Club. Last week, he got in against Notre Dame. The 13 home runs, that's what the Yankees really like about this kid. High school baseball player of the year.
Hensen's living every young kid's dream. He's playing pro baseball for the New York Yankees, one of the premier organizations in pro baseball, and he's quarterbacking the Michigan Wolverines. I mean, it doesn't really get any better than that, Rich.
He's hit his only pass, that 34-yarder, which has the Wolverines now inside the 20. The officials right now, I think, resetting the play clock. Hensen on his initial drive of the football game. He'll pitch it to Thomas. Outside and down to the 5. Anthony Thomas on the carry. Coming up today on ABC Sports, 3:30 Eastern, number 21 Notre Dame against number 16 Purdue. The California Golden Bears have a date in Lincoln with number 6 Nebraska, and number 19 Virginia will take on Clemson. Check your local listings for a game in your area. Thomas inside the 5. That's his 13th carry already, Gino. Lloyd Carr was explicit when he told us we don't want him up around the 30 to 32 carry mark like we had him against Notre Dame.
Maybe he's working him like a pitcher in baseball. Maybe he's got a rush count on him, and as soon as he hits 25, he's going to come out of the game, and we're going to look for Walter Cross. But you have to work your star players, and I think he is the star player for Michigan.
Hensen straight ahead. Is he in? The Wolverines feel so. He made it. Hensen makes one last lunge, but the Owls on 2nd and goal have held.
There, they gave him a break, Rich. They let Hensen run a quarterback sneak. This is where Michigan's size and power will come into effect every quarter this game goes on. And the longer the Rice defense is on the field and not their offense, they're going to get worn down by Michigan's size.
3rd and goal. Hensen again up, and is he over? Yes, touchdown.
6 points.
Rice thought they stole the football, but Hensen had it long enough for the score.
Tom Brady will hold.
Jeff Delverne for the extra point. He made it just barely.
There you see the push by Michigan's offensive line, and Hensen just diving over to the top.
Qualifications.
Oh, well, I was the first pick in the NFL draft.
Can you drive a forklift?
Play the Gatorade Win It Instantly game, and you could win a year's supply of Gatorade delivered by either Michael Jordan, Peyton Manning, Mia Hamm, or Mark Martin. Or a ton of other prizes, like your own Gatorade vending machine. Just look under the cap.
Peyton, you got to win in Phoenix.
ESPN2's presentation of college football is brought to you by the all-new 2000 LeSabre by Buick, re-engineered to be safer than ever, and by Kinko's. Express yourself.
Michigan Stadium, where number 5 Michigan on top of Rice. Drew Hensen sneaking in.
Diving over to the top. There you see the ball just comes out after he broke the plane. As soon as that ball breaks the plane, it's 6 points. It doesn't matter if it comes out after that. So that's why that's not a fumble right there.
Aiden Epstein with a low line drive. It's taken by Adrian Sadler. He's out to the 23-yard line. Let's head to the studios. Reese Davis.
For Rich, last week we saw Sean Alexander, multi-dimensional. He can run it, he can catch it. Andrews out for Alabama against Houston, finding a wide open Alexander. And Alexander will do the rest, taking it to the house, tied on top of Houston 7-0 about halfway through the first quarter. Meanwhile, West Virginia with all kinds of struggles with the Red Hawks of Miami, although Mark Bulger's thrown a touchdown pass to Anthony Green to give the Mountaineers the lead.
Lee Corso earlier on game day said Miami of Ohio would beat West Virginia. Right now, the Rice Owls are just trying to move a football. Richardson trying to call a timeout, and he gets it just before the play clock expires. Back to Michigan after this. Number 5 Michigan on top of Rice, a 10-0 score. 12.5 minutes left in the first half. For the timeout, Richardson gives to his fullback, Clint Leschberg. And he's hammered by Josh Williams.
Number 18, Clint Leschberg.
Rich, Coach Lee, the offensive coordinator for Rice, wanted to at least throw the ball a little bit more on first down. Every drive, he hasn't even attempted a pass. I think he has to make a pass because Michigan's size is so much of a factor in winning the line of scrimmage battle, and Rice can't win the line of scrimmage battle, so they have to look for misdirections and maybe throwing the ball a little bit more.
David Lee, offensive coordinator. 2nd down and 10. Richardson will throw the ball and throw it quite well. Nice call, Coach Toretta. Raphael Tillman made the catch.
That was a nice throw by Richardson. They were very concerned with last week. They only completed 3 out of 15 passes. Nice little dive fake, pulls out. There you see the linebackers even bite on the fake. And Richardson make a nice throw to Tillman.
15 yards on the pickup. So it's 1st and 10, and the Rice Owls have moved the sticks for the first time. On the outside, James Whitley makes the stop on Vincent Hawkins. Rice will rotate their halfbacks and their fullbacks in this triple option. They like to keep fresh legs behind Richardson.
1 first down. That may start the ball rolling for this offense. They get 6-7 yards on the first play there. That's exactly what the option offense wants to do, just like Don McPherson told us. They want at least 5 yards on first down.
A look at the option and the lanes from the end zone on 2nd and 4. And even from that angle, that play just didn't work. Let's head back to the studio and Reese Davis.
West Virginia has never started 0-2 under Don Nalen. Looks as if Mark Bulger doesn't want them to now. Against Miami, Ohio, Bulger finding Corey Ivy. Nice catch in the end zone. 2nd touchdown toss of the day for Bulger. Mountaineers on top of the Red Hawks.
So, you know, we'll see West Virginia next week at Maryland.
And they do have one of the top quarterbacks, college quarterbacks in football right now, Mark Bulger.
David Lee trying to get this offense going. That was a big loss. It's 3rd and 8. And Richardson going to throw. And again, he throws a strike, which is batted and tipped and intercepted. Dwayne Patman.
Rice only had 14 turnovers last year, Rich. Right now, with that turnover, they had 6 last week. This one makes 7. With an option offense, it's ball control, and you cannot turn the ball over to win a football game. Richardson throws a nice, accurate ball right to his receiver. Just hits his shoulder pads. Instead of catching it with his hands, the receiver let that ball get on top of him, hit his shoulder pads first, and just bounces right out.
Gilbert Okoronkwo, the wide receiver. And Patman with his first interception of the season. Hensen back and throwing and incomplete. He was looking for David Terrell. Good coverage by Adrian Sadler.
I really like that play call by DeBorg right there. Anytime you get a change of possession, you have to look for the other team, if they're in good field position, to go for the throw. They're really going to go for a deep ball. That's a nice play call. Unfortunately, didn't work out for him.
Mike DeBorg right in your screen. 3rd year as the offensive coordinator. He had a pretty good first season as an offensive coordinator.
Not too shabby. National championship.
Anthony Thomas to the 45-yard line. It's a gain of maybe 2. Brandon Green made the stop.
Rich, from the looks of it, it almost looks as Michigan was looking ahead of this ball game, because they should not only be ahead of this ball game 10-0. They had over 100 yards offense in the first quarter, and they only had 3 points to show for it. They have to start executing. They told us all week they were working on focusing. It doesn't look like they're focusing too hard right here.
3rd down and long. Lots of time for Hensen. He can scramble. Batted down. Incomplete.
Lloyd Carr loves Hensen's mobility. Here you see he'll get out of the pocket. The bad thing with a young quarterback, he's only a sophomore. He tries his arm. He tries to make this throw. Kenny Smith comes up and almost gets an interception right here. That's what a young quarterback, you learn. It's the process of becoming a great quarterback. You learn with throws like this. This is not a smart play by him.
Hensen in a deep shotgun, which would look like a punting situation. And a little quick kick, a wobbly one, but a very effective one as it rolls out of bounds.
The quarterback for Michigan, quick punter for Michigan, and the 3rd baseman for the Yankees.
Not bad. 10-0 Michigan. While we were away, the side squad was out. They're having some problems with the turf here. The Michigan ground game tearing it up. Not so with the Rice Owls, who are backed up right now. And Richardson is planted. Josh Williams has been his personal escort most of the first half.
It was a nice play by Williams. You'll see Richardson ride the fullback in to the line of scrimmage, pull the ball out, but Williams does not give Richardson a chance to even pitch this ball. So the option is nullified by all the penetration by Williams.
Second down and 12. Michigan's defense very solid today. Quarterback draw. Richardson steps out of trouble out to the 7-yard line. DeHaan Jones made the stop.
The thought now for Rice is they have to give their punters room to kick this football. If they get pinned any farther back, Michigan has a good shot of blocking the kick. So I'd like to see him throw the ball a little bit more. Richardson's been on the money with 2 throws today. Unfortunately, one got dropped, and it was an interception by Patton.
Gilbert Okoronkwo, the man that dropped the ball. Flags down. And if you're worried about field position, this won't help. First flag of the day against Rice. ESPN Game Plan back for another season of pay-per-view. Over 100 college games, all your favorite teams and conferences from around the country. Call DirecTV, the Dish Network, or your local cable operator. Third down 12 for the triple option Rice Owls, and they'll keep it straight ahead. Just a couple yards for Clint Leshber, the senior fullback out of Thorndale, Texas.
I think that drive shows why the option is only run by 4 teams in college football. If you don't have the personnel and the size up front to dominate a defensive line, you cannot work all your keys. Richardson, he's riding the fullback down, then they're leaving the guy always unblocked. But Michigan is so fast and so big, they're getting in before Richardson could even make a pitch.
Travis Hale backed up. The Wolverines don't come after it. It's a short kick to Diallo Johnson at his 44, and Johnson inside the 30 down to the 28-yard line. Let's talk option with Don McPherson. Don?
Rich, the key to option football is reach, ride, and decide. Richardson has to reach for his back, ride into the line of scrimmage, and make a decision. He has to decide to give the ball before he crosses his front leg. He's watching the defense the whole time. If the tackle vacates, he gives it. If the tackle stays in the hole, he pulls the ball.
Do we have to pay Mike Tirico for this?
He wants more money.
What do you know? Get out of here. I'm trying to watch a game. Get away from it.
Tirico, a recent resident of Ann Arbor. Hensen, a lot of room. And he's run out by Dan Dawson.
Dan Dawson.
They'll bring up second down. Let's talk quarterbacks. What do you think of this situation, Gino Torretta? This is not a platoon. It's a competition, Lloyd Carr said.
It's a competition, and I think he's going to make the decision after the 3rd football game. Whoever plays better between Hensen and you're seeing Brady right there is going to be the starter for the Big Ten Conference games for Michigan.
Next week, Michigan and Syracuse. Anthony Thomas, short of the first down. It'll be 3rd down and short. We head to the studios. Reese?
Well, Pittsburgh is putting up quite a fight in Happy Valley, Rich. Panthers on the move. John Turman firing to Antonio Bryant at 84 yards receiving last week and picking up there. Pittsburgh tied up the Nittany Lions about halfway through the second.
That's a very emotional rivalry Penn State and Pitt.
Rich, as a quarterback, all you want is to be in a position to compete and win the job. And I think both of these guys are competing and doing the best they can. And let Lloyd Carr make the decision who's going to start the rest of the season.
Hensen. The throw is dropped. It'll be 4th down and short. And another decision for Lloyd Carr. He'll send the field goal unit on.
I think even that play by Hensen shows his inexperience. He's only a sophomore. He's in the pocket. He's got all the time in the world to throw. His guy comes open. He's only 2 yards away from him. He's throwing like it's a 15-yard out. Bounces right off his pads. He's got to take a little bit of steam off those balls.
Jeff Delverne from 38 yards. He hit a 24-yarder earlier today. This one just makes it. So Delverne is earning that scholarship. And Michigan is on top of Rice. Number 5 Michigan on top of Rice, 13-0. 6:20 left in this first half. Another full house at Michigan. The 150th consecutive game in which the attendance here has been over 100,000.
The support for this program is outstanding. I think that's why Michigan is one of the premier schools in the Big Ten, and why you'd want to come here, because every week you're playing in front of a full stadium.
Dan Dawson awaiting this Hayden Epstein kick. Epstein had knee surgery in early June. Lloyd Carr did not think he'd have him for the football season, but he surprised everyone. And practice started by doing that, kicking it deep. And Dawson will put a knee down. We talked about the 2 quarterback system at Michigan. Drew Hensen is the youngster, but when you listen to him talk about it, he seems rather experienced at this.
I respect Tom tremendously. He's above anything, he's my teammate. And I think we have a good working relationship. We may not be the best of friends, but we have a tremendous amount of respect for each other. And when he's in the game, I'm definitely pulling for him, and I think it's the same when I'm in the game.
Lloyd Carr talked about this situation between Drew Hensen and Tom Brady, and he likened it to a situation that Don James had at the University of Washington in the late 80s, early 90s with Mark Brunell and Billy Joe Hobert, both who are starting in the NFL right now. A little reverse look, and that play goes nowhere. Now, Gino, in college football right now, there are a lot of 2 quarterback teams going. And there are, I mean, you go from Penn State to Nebraska to UCLA, Ohio State. But when you ask Lloyd Carr about it, he says, you know what, we're not like these schools. This is not a platoon. This is a competition. At Washington, when Mark Brunell was hurt, Billy Joe Hobert came on and led that team to a national championship and beat this Michigan team in the Rose Bowl. That's the situation that Carr likens his to, not the others in college football. Richardson out to the 24-yard line. Chad Richardson with the carry. Even recent years. And Ohio State with Jackson and Jermaine had a lot of success a couple years ago. Did you ever play in a 2 quarterback system like that?
Never. It was at Miami, you were the clear-cut starter going into the season. But I think the competition in the spring and the fall practices for Michigan between Hensen and Brady was very close. And I think Lloyd Carr wanted to get game time experience. Whoever plays better in the game will be the starter.
3rd down. Richardson caught from behind, and again it's Josh Williams, who's made a bundle of plays already this afternoon. Williams has been everywhere.
Rich, that play shows how Richardson is really not comfortable throwing the football. He's more comfortable running the option. He had great protection and a lot of time to throw the football, but he got nervous feet and tried to run out of there and get the first down instead of just sitting in the pocket and using his arm to get the first down.
Ken Hatfield told us that Richardson would play the entire game. Last week he used Jeremy Bates. And there was a thought that maybe he would use Corey Evans. But if the Rice offense continues to struggle, I wouldn't be surprised to see Bates. Johnson at the 35. Diallo Johnson into Rice territory. And down to the 32, there's a flag down at the Rice 43-yard line. 28 yards on the return. Travis Hale, the punter, made the stop.
We've been talking about size and speed on offense and defense, but it really comes into play also on special teams, as it showed right there with Michigan making a nice return.
Ken Hatfield trying to rally the troops right now.
Holding on the receiving team during the return. 10 yards from the spot of the foul. First down.
It'll bring the football back to the Michigan 47. Coming up tonight on ABC, more regional coverage at 8 Eastern. Number 13 UCLA visiting number 14 Ohio State. Number 10 Georgia Tech takes on Florida State. Check your local listings for the game in your area. The Wolverines right now number 5 and feeling pretty good about it. Drew Hensen playing the second quarter and playing well. Swings it out, and it's caught by Walter Cross. There's been a Walter Cross sighting. Didn't see him against Notre Dame. Lloyd Carr did not want to play any of his young players in that matchup, but the youngsters are starting to get some reps here.
I think talking with the fullback Shea yesterday, Thomas nor Shea wanted to come out of the Notre Dame game. And how can you blame them when you're having such a physical ball game? You want your team to win. You want to do everything you can to win that football game. You want to be in.
Cross gets another touch. And on second and short, he's got the first down. Jason Hebert made the stop.
Rich, I think a big reason why Cross didn't play is not the fact of running the football. All these running backs on the Michigan teams are great athletes. He is more concerned of protecting his quarterbacks in passing situation. The blocker has to be an all-around back here. He has to block for the quarterback, and that was his concern, not running with the football.
Cross on a draw. And he's inside the 35, a gain of 7. I think it goes for all the positions, Gino, not just the tailback spot. Against Notre Dame, Lloyd Carr said we had to go with our veterans. It was such a big game. We can't afford to do that once we get into the Big Ten. We must be able to use our depth as an advantage.
Right. Experience is the key to winning football games and to having your program be a national championship contender. And that's what Michigan has. They have depth and they have a wonderful experience.
Cross breaks the first tackle by Hebert and gets down to the 33-yard line. Very close to a first down.
Johnson on the stop, along with Brandon Green.
13-0 Michigan lead over the Wolverines. Yesterday's meetings were punctuated by a visit from Bo Schembechler, who burst through the door, saw the 2 quarterbacks next to him, and wanted to talk about running the football. Not a surprise from Bo, down to the 32-yard line, and he would be proud of this Michigan ground attack so far today.
He would. I think Bo even told us how difficult it is to defend the option. Michigan's done a wonderful job doing it today. There you see Bo, 20 years here, and I don't think, you know, the record that he put up is just impeccable, Rich. I think, you know, all the great players that came out of here, you look at it, Anthony Carter, Desmond Howard, Elvis Gerbach, Todd Collins. I mean, this is a great program, and it will be for years to come.
And he still is very much a presence on this campus, because just about every building is named after him, and rightfully so. Let's go back to the studios. Reese Davis. Reese?
Well, Rich, coming up on the Buick halftime report, we'll go down to Happy Valley, where Pittsburgh is giving Penn State all kinds of fits. In addition to that, how Drew Brees is going to weather the stormy winds coming his way soon. And Georgia Tech's little big man, will he be able to finish finally against the Seminoles? All of that coming up on the Buick halftime report in just a couple of minutes.
Thanks, Reese. Drew Hensen still in. That one is caught. Tumbling catch by David Terrell. Nope, he dropped it. Adrian Sadler made the play. Terrell tumbling over the ball and then losing it.
Adrian Sadler defending.
On the throw from Hensen.
Nice throw on the slant by Hensen. Rice brings pressure, Cross steps up, makes a nice block, gives him time to throw. Can't throw the ball any better than that, Rich.
Hensen has looked sharp. Tom Brady looked sharp as well. He had some balls that he threw as well that were right on the mark. Quick pop there. Marquise Walker to the 13-yard line. Travis Ortega made the stop. 17 yards on the pickup.
Nice play by Walker, fighting and scratching for all the yards he can after the catch.
And Michigan, without a huddle, has forced Rice to burn a timeout. Timeout on the field. Michigan on top of Rice. Number 5 Michigan on top of Rice. 13-0. That last play, Hensen to Walker.
Little hitch route makes one guy miss, 2, 3, and there gets tripped up, and he still fights for 4 or 5 yards after the trip. Just a simple pitch and catch by Hensen to Walker.
Lots of time for Hensen. Terrell, touchdown. Josh McMillan on the coverage.
Another nice throw by Hensen. Rich, really the only bad decision we've seen him make is when he got flushed out of the pocket and tried to force a ball, and the secondary came up and almost gave up an interception. But from then on, he's been very accurate in all his passes.
Gino, if you're scoring with us at home, who's ahead in this quarterback race today, Hensen or Brady?
Well, I think Hensen is right now, but I think a lot of that has to do with all the penalties that were assessed on Michigan's offense in the first couple drives when Brady's on the field. One thing I would say, though, it's very tough to keep a kid off the field when he can drop back and make one of the toughest throws in the game on this little post route and just drills it in, throws it over to linebackers, and led Terrell for 6 points.
The Michigan coaches were amazed at how Hensen was able to throw the football after playing baseball all summer. They felt he did not lose anything with his footwork, his delivery, or his arm strength after being an infielder for the Yankees Florida State affiliate. High A ball.
I think what Lloyd Carr said, though, he said it's all about competition, and the competition in baseball helped him out when he came back in football. That's where a sophomore quarterback, he's getting experience where these guys on the football field aren't getting. He's in a pro baseball camp where guys, that's their job to play baseball. So he's competing on a whole nother level than these guys, and he could be one of the greatest Michigan quarterbacks before he leaves school here.
Right now, Tom Brady is the team captain, elected by his teammates, and he's the one that led them to a Big Ten title last year. Dan Dawson tripped up on a great play on the special teams by B.J. Askew. Down below is Don McPherson. Don?
Rich, ever since Hensen's come into the ball game, the offense has really settled down. They've cut down on their mistakes in the first quarter. He moves the pocket around. He gives them some more options. These guys have settled down, and of course, the wide receiver speed has just been too much for the Rice defense.
There's a comparison. Hey, Don, were you ever involved in a two-quarterback system or in a competition like this?
I think every year you go into competition, and I think what happens when you start to shuttle quarterbacks in and out, you start to lose your confidence. You start to lose that continuity, and the team around you does. And I've never been in a situation where quarterbacks have come in and out of a ball game as much as we've seen this and again last week.
Last week at East Carolina, successfully, Steve Logan rotated quarterbacks. This is Richardson on a big game for Rice. That's a 12-yard pickup.
Nice play by Richardson there. that is the option offense. You're not going to see a 10, 12-yard completion too often. You're going to see Richardson making 10, 12-yard runs and winning the ballgame with his feet.
What does Rice do here with 1:22 left? Gino, does that change things in terms of the play calling? You see David Lee, their offensive coordinator?
Well, depending on field position, if they get closer to midfield, maybe they'll start throwing the football a little more, but they're a running football team, and they're going to run the ball and try to score on the ground.
Richardson again, the keeper. Across the 30. Michigan's going to call a timeout, and the Wolverines want the ball back.
James Hall along with Donnie Jones on the stop.
So the Wolverines feel there's more football to be played in this first half. We'll step away as well. Michigan on top of Rice 20-0. Ken Hatfield not real happy. The reason why? Michigan on top 20-0. Rice has had some opportunities in this game and they've let them slip through their fingers. Like that. Flags are down.
Penalty markers down.
Richardson recovered it.
Richardson covered the loose ball. Donnie Jones led the defenders.
Not a happy coach.
Offside. Defense. 5 yards from the previous spot. Remains second down. Timeout. Michigan. They're second.
But Ken Hatfield a little bit happier after he picks up 5 yards. Hope you'll stick with us for our Buick halftime reports. Reese Davis, Rodney Gilmore, and John Mackovic. We'll take a look at everything going on in college football, preview the big games tonight.
Rich, I think Rice has let a few opportunities slip through their hands, but I think you have to go back and look at the fumble not called a fumble. That is big. Field position for an option football team is bigger than a passing team because Michigan can go out and throw a 20-yard completion. Rice probably can't do that. So that's why field position is so important.
It was a fumble early in the game. Michigan had a 3-0 lead. It would have given Rice the football at the Michigan 30. Immediately following the play, Michigan hit a long pass and was off to the races, and now it's 20-0. And look at the yardage right now. Heavily favored, obviously, to Michigan.
It was essentially a net 60-yard negative play for Rice from getting the ball at the Michigan 30 to giving up the long pass and then knocking on the door at their own 30.
Michigan has a timeout left, though the offsides cost them a down. 2nd and 2. Straight ahead goes Jamie Tyler.
Ball carried by Jamie Tyler.
And here's Michigan's final timeout.
James Hall, the leading defender, along with Rodriguez.
Full house again. 24 of the last 25 years Michigan has led in attendance. This the 150th consecutive game. Last week was the all-time record, over 111,000. They definitely fill this place up. There is absolutely no wasted space in the stadium. There's only one way to get into the stadium from the ground level, and it's the tunnel that is right behind the Rice bench. They don't mess around here.
Short of the first down by less than a foot.
1975, the last time they failed to get over the 100,000 mark, was against the Indiana Hoosiers. 93,857. Few empty seats. Difficult to see the opposite goal line from that corner.
Those would be the Bob Uecker seats.
Yes. Donnie Mack has been wandering around up there throughout the ball game. Built this place in 1925 at a cost of $950,000. When it first opened, it was 72,000 seats.
They enlarged this place, Gino, before the season even ended.
Today in the second quarter.
Back when they opened it. They went, I think, up to 85,000 that year. They said, you know, we can sell more tickets. Let's put in more seats.
They have tremendous support up here in the Michigan Ann Arbor area. It is just a great sight to see, not only in college football, but for the University of Michigan.
First quarter, Virginia Tech 10.
ABC college football today in full force. Number 21 Notre Dame against number 16 Purdue. Can Drew Brees get the Boilermakers over the top? Tommy Homo and his California Golden Bears against number 6 Nebraska, and then number 19 Virginia takes on Clemson. That's regional coverage that starts at 3:30 Eastern. Later on tonight at 8 Eastern, number 13 UCLA and number 14 Ohio State, and then the game that a lot of people have been pointing towards, number 10 Georgia Tech and number 1 Florida State. Gino Toretta, give me a call on these two games. UCLA, Ohio State first.
I think Ohio State's got to come back after a tough loss to Miami and have a stellar game against UCLA. UCLA losing Cade McNown last year. That was their emotional leader. But that's why they play the games on Saturday.
Georgia Tech, Florida State.
I think Florida State just outmatches everybody in college football right now in talent.
That's a Hurricane picking a Seminole. How about that? Jamie Tyler's got the first down. James Whitley made the stop, and Michigan is unable to stop the clock from here on out.
James Whitley with the stop along with Larry Foote. There's a first down for
Our Buick halftime report is coming up with Reese, Rodney, and the coach, John McAvick. I'm sure John McAvick saw this triple option attack a few times from Rice. Richardson. The pitch. And Anthony Griffin. Out of bounds right at midfield and hit hard.
Tommy Hendricks.
James Hall made the stop.
Nice hit by Hall. See Richardson make the late pitch down on the sidelines. This is very dangerous to spin back towards the field when you're on the sidelines. That's times when you get hurt like that with pursuit of Michigan and the speed by the linebacking core.
Second down short. It was a pickup of 9. The clock stopped with the play going out of bounds. Richardson swallowed up. He may have been touched by every one of the Wolverines rushing. It looked like a 3-man rush.
This could put good pressure on Richardson there. That's where the size and strength of Michigan, as this game goes on, it's going to be more and more of a factor.
I'm surprised, you know, Gino, I'm surprised Rice doesn't just take a timeout and just try to throw it in the end zone.
I would definitely. I mean, they haven't been able to score or get down there. They're almost at midfield. Take a shot.
Number 5 Michigan comfortably on top of Rice. A 20-0 ball game. Bring on halftime. And Reese Davis. Reese.
All right, Rich, thanks a lot. John McAvick, Rod Gilmore joining me. And, guys, 20-0, Michigan in control now. Got a break on that fumble call, but Wolverines seemed a little flat early.
Yeah, that first half couldn't end fast enough for Rice. I tell you, those timeouts at the end.
And it took a while.
Yeah, exactly. Uninspired football by Michigan, but nevertheless, you see their superior team. They did well. And how about Tom Hensen at quarterback? Hensen looked very good to me. He's playing great football, and that quarterback competition is going to be real tough, Coach.
But it gets tougher the better he looks. The defense of Michigan is just too much for Rice. Tommy Hendricks and Josh Williams, both Houston kids, are showing them how to play football.
You know about those Texas guys down there. He's not going to let them get away, and Drew Hensen looked terrific with a couple of touchdown passes there. Michigan might be having it a little easier than Penn State. Could they be looking ahead? Pittsburgh giving them a tussle. Tell you all about it shortly on the Buick Halftime Report.
I want to wish a happy 20th anniversary, ESPN. Keep it going, guys.
This halftime report is presented by Century by Buick, a luxury car for everyone.
And we're glad to have you with us on the Buick Halftime Report. Reese Davis along with John McAvick and Rod Gilmore. Let's start with Pittsburgh and Penn State. And Walt Harris, mindful of the great tradition of this rivalry, says it's a great rivalry, but it's not a real rivalry until we win one of them. Panthers had lost 6 in a row to Penn State going into Happy Valley. First quarter, Penn State came out a little sluggish. Rashard Casey in there now, finding Mike Ceramelli. Bangs it in for the touchdown. 7-0 Penn State. Late in the first quarter, Pitt punting. LeVar Arrington hammering Greg the Bolt, the punter.
He's out of control. Arrington, an emotional guy from Pittsburgh, trying to take it to some of his homeboys.
Either that or somebody said something about somebody's mama. Arrington got an unnecessary roughness, personal foul, but I like the punter standing up for himself. Pittsburgh wouldn't quit. John Turman finding Antonio Bryant, 16 yards out. That one tied the game at 7, and now it's 10-7 Penn State at halftime on ESPN.
Antonio Bryant averaging 21 yards a catch, stretching the Penn State defense. Big-time player for him.
Ball State and Wisconsin. Ron Dane, of course, a week ago only played the first half. No score early in the first quarter, and there's the bigot. Slamming up in there, doing what he does best, running through tackles, led to a field goal, 3-0. Still in the first quarter, you can surmise that Ball State's about to have some trouble. Cuevas Payton is greeted by a sea of red in his own end zone of safety, 5-0. And then here is Nick Davis stealing Ron Dane's carries on the free kick.
What's he doing? Ron Dane's got to carry the ball, but he can't do it when Davis does this.
Come on, Nick. Stay after. That's his second return for a touchdown this year. Ron Dane, 20 carries, 98 yards at halftime. We will see him in the second half this week.
As well they should. He deserves that. 22-7. Nick Davis going 77 yards with that free kick for the score. Wisconsin on top. Houston and Alabama. Andrew Zal leading the Crimson Tide, and of course, he's looking for Sean Alexander, who's turned into a great receiving threat.
He is the best, or one of the 2 best, with J.R. Redmond pass and catch backs in the country. 93 yards rushing, 25 yards receiving, 2 touchdowns in the first half. Another big day for Sean Alexander.
And there goes Alexander the Great, ripping off 27 right there. The Tide would get a field goal out of that one, and as Coach mentioned, added another Sean Alexander touchdown there on top of the Cougars and the Love coach, Kim Helton, 17-3 as they play about halfway through the second quarter at Legion Field. UAB has never scored on Virginia Tech, and they still haven't so far. 10-0. The Hokies on top without Michael Vick. Michael Vick right there, the talented redshirt freshman, not playing this game.
But with the defense like that, you don't need him. Dave Meyer gets to start, had a start last season. Second time he's getting in there. He's doing okay.
Later on this afternoon on ABC, a terrific schedule. You see Cal and Nebraska, Virginia and Clemson. Nebraska, of course, with that quarterback controversy. In the other game, Notre Dame and Purdue. There is no quarterback controversy in this one, at least certainly not for Purdue, John, with Drew Brees. Last year, Bob Davies said he arranged his schedule a little bit, wanted a couple of weeks to prepare for that attack, and early on it looked as if it wasn't going to work.
Well, it didn't. You ought to call this guy Cool Brees, because he is Mr. Cool under the center, and he throws that ball. Last year against Notre Dame, he had a fantastic game. Here we see him early in the game. Touchdown pass. He really had a big day going, but it didn't end quite the way he wanted.
Well, what happened in the fourth quarter, Coach? You know, they had some trouble in the fourth quarter there. He was throwing the football, didn't do a good job of it, did it well early on. But what happened? Tony Driver, a guy in the secondary, makes a big fourth quarter pick, and that really hurt them. But he doesn't have to worry about Driver this year because Driver is a running back now. Thank you very much.
Yeah, Driver may want to keep him off the field. Look at the teams that Drew Brees has to play against. On the right is where they ranked last year in pass defense. If Drew Brees can go through this schedule, he will definitely have a leg up on the Heisman Trophy.
Not a chance.
What do you mean, not a chance?
Not a chance.
Sure.
That's
He's
tough
going
October.
through the
If
schedule.
he goes through that,
I
Ryan,
didn't say he'd finish it. But I don't look for him to do poorly. I think Drew Brees is going to put up good numbers against these teams. The problem is they may not win the games, and you're not going to win the Heisman Trophy unless your team wins the games.
Yeah, there's going to be some pounding going on because people are going to go after Drew Brees in October. The quick passing game, they're going to start really pressing the receivers at the line of scrimmage. When he faces the bigger teams, Michigan State, Penn State, it gets tougher.
And you know what we didn't see on that schedule the week after that when it turns to November? Then it's Wisconsin. So it's not going to get any easier for Drew Brees. Well, he's still got much more coming up on the Buick Halftime Report. Stick around, stay with us. Another matchup between a Big Ten team and a WAC team. That's all coming up shortly. And welcome back to the Buick Halftime Report. You know, last week we talked a lot about coaching debuts, and Randy Walker certainly had one that he would like to forget for Northwestern, losing to Miami of Ohio, his former team. So Northwestern trying to get Coach Walker off the proverbial schneid against TCU. 7-0 Horned Frogs already. Northwestern, Sam Simmons making like a Musso and finding some room on the punt return there.
Only 9 guys on the coverage there. That's what happened there, right? Had to be that.
87 yards, he would take it for the score. That tied the game at 7, and that's where we stand right now as TCU and Northwestern are at halftime.
Yeah, keep in mind, TCU played Arizona very tough last week, and you expect them to play tough in the second half here. I think they've got a pretty good ball club.
Intra-state battle in Michigan. Michigan State on top of Eastern 17-0. They're still in the first quarter. Tulsa and Oklahoma State. Cowboys up 3-0. Tulsa on their own 9-yard line. Michael Walls, the quarterback. You better get rid of the ball. He is too late. Zach Warner knocks it loose. Cowboys were all over it. They're on top 10-0 after that touchdown there. Still in the first, Bob Simmons' crew up 10-3. Cowboys to Tulsa 1, and got Tony Lindsay, who was hurt in the opener for the Cowboys a week ago. The Oklahoma State offense getting a score there, and they're on top of Tulsa 17-3.
Tony Lindsay, one of 4 starting quarterbacks, hurt last weekend, not playing today. Backups are stepping in and doing a decent job.
West Virginia trying to bounce back from a loss. They lost to East Carolina on ESPN2 last week. A little roughing the kicker call that upset the Mountaineers staff. First quarter, Mike Bass showering the bomb on West Virginia. Sly Johnson, he's so sly with the ladies. 56 yards to the score. Miami, Ohio up 7-3. Still in the first quarter after the Mountaineer drive, Mark Bulger finding Anthony Green 2 yards out. Put the Mountaineers on top 10-7, and then Bulger would go back to work looking for his favorite target. Corey Ivy, nice leaping catch in the end zone.
Mark Bulger's the man, and last week we talked about West Virginia starting slowly. I'd say come out and get Bulger in the game big time in the second half. That's West Virginia's best attack.
You were pushing Don Neyland to open it up.
I think he should.
19-14, they're on top of the tough Red Hawks as they play at the half. Mountaineers trying to keep Travis Prentice in check in that one. At West Point, Wake Forest and Army, second quarter, tied at 3. Morgan Kane ripping off 26 yards. The Demon Deacons there. The same drive. It worked once. Why not go to it again? Kane busting up the middle for 10. Drive still continuing, and we're still going to Kane, who's bouncing it outside and running over a couple of cadets. 11 yards out. Wake Forest on top 10-3 at that point. Army's bounced back now. It's 10-9 as they play, or as they've gone to halftime now, getting ready to start the second half shortly in that one. Tennessee Tech and Bowling Green. Bowling Green on top, 14-0. They've just started the second quarter in that one. And how would you like to see Marvin Stone against Azu Dan, UConn and Kentucky? And instead it's football, and the Wildcats are on top by a count of 7-0 in that one. Don't forget, much more football coming your way on ESPN2. South Carolina against Georgia. August 6th being ushered in between the hedges tonight.
Yeah, but there's a top dog going to Quincy Carter. Watch him tonight. He is, I think, the best quarterback in Georgia.
Hey, wait a minute. How about the best quarterback in Texas, Major Applewhite, right afterwards?
All right, okay, all right.
That's our 2 quarterback system right there.
Mix them up.
2 quarterbacks in the state. More coming up on the Buick Halftime Report. We'll talk about Joe Hamilton in just a little bit. Stay with us. More football coming up tonight on ABC. Number 13, UCLA, and their 2-quarterback system against Ohio State's 2-quarterback system at the Horseshoe. And then battle of the top 10 teams, and maybe for the ACC Championship, Georgia Tech and Florida State. That's at 8 Eastern on ABC. And let's talk a little bit about Joe Hamilton. Here's a guy who set all kinds of records for Georgia Tech, but he has not finished a game against Florida State. That's simply the strategy for the Jackets. They have to keep him healthy tonight.
Yeah, I said Quincy Carter was the best quarterback in Georgia. Joe Hamilton. Joe, you know I love you. You're a great quarterback. But you're not as big as Quincy Carter, and that's part of the problem. Small guy takes some big hits, and Florida State has been after him the last couple years, and he's only about 5'10", 180 pounds, and when they come off the corner, it's bow! See ya. And he's going to see some more of that tonight, and that's going to be a problem, Coach, because Florida State is going to come after him. You know that.
That's the game plan. See if you can disrupt him, get him out of it. Joe Hamilton is the key to the game. Everybody's talking about that's the case. He has had fabulous success against the other teams in the ACC. He needs to be able to do the same thing against Florida State one time. Look at his record here. When you look at what he's done against the other teams, with Florida State on the left, other ACC teams on the right, the numbers are staggeringly different. If Georgia Tech is to win the game, they have to keep him healthy, first of all. How do they do that? They're going to have to run the ball better tonight, take the pressure off him, and then let Joe Hamilton beat him with a play action.
Yeah, but he hasn't finished a game against Florida State. I don't know that he's going to finish one today.
They're going to
take. Oh, okay. You heard it here.
You heard it right there.
You heard it right there.
Mark it down.
Yeah. I think he's determined. and he is going to finish that game.
Well, look beyond the first quarter, Reese, because in the first quarter of these games, historically, Georgia Tech has played very well. But the last 3 quarters of the last 3 games, Georgia Tech has scored 0 points. Florida State, 141.
And Joe Hamilton has yet to run or throw for a touchdown against Florida State, so they'll need to do that. Now, certainly Tech has to keep Joe Hamilton healthy. Other teams we've seen running a 2-quarterback system that includes Ohio State, but maybe the problem for the Buckeyes, they wonder if they have a no-quarterback system after the performance they had against Miami in the opener.
Yeah, well, they really do. Ohio State and UCLA play tonight. Both of them are trying to find a quarterback. In Ohio State's case, Joe Germain led them, was an outstanding quarterback. He's gone on to the NFL. He's not there anymore. So it's between Austin Mockerman and Steve Belisari, and they're having a hard time picking. Neither one's look particularly good. Their numbers aren't real impressive. UCLA's in the same boat.
Well, how many times do you have a game where you're going to have 4 quarterbacks that you talk about and not just 2, and UCLA has 2 of their own? They're going to be looking at Drew Bennett and Corey Paz. These are the guys going after it, and who's going to win that job? I don't know, but they haven't had an awful lot of success when you compare them to what Cade McNown did over his career. 68 touchdowns, and Drew Bennett and Corey Paz only 4 today. Now, that's a little bit unfair because when you think about Cade McNown in his freshman season, he only scored 7 touchdown passes and 8 picks.
Yep, that's right. Look at Joe Germain and here are the numbers for Austin Mockerman and Steve Belisari. And again, granted, Germain played a longer time, but somebody, each of these teams, they're used to having a go-to man at his quarterback position. And they'll have to come up with one, I think, for them to have the kind of year and challenge for the Rose Bowl or the Bowl Championship.
Yeah, and I think both these teams want to go with one quarterback. I don't believe they really want to do this platooning. I think UCLA is looking at trying to find someone who will win that job. And I think Ohio State's in the same boat.
I agree.
We sort of arm wrestled about this, and it's tough to play, too. Some teams are in good situations, Arizona most notably, and certainly the team that we're watching in halftime, Michigan. We have guys like Tom Brady and Drew Hensen. Things are okay at your quarterback position, and they are for the Wolverines. They're up 20-0. We're back after this.
I'll tell you.
Number 5, Michigan, on top of the Rice Owls by a score of 20-0. Rich Waltz, Gino Torretta, Don McPherson. The numbers, as you would expect, dominated by Michigan in the first half.
And the biggest stat right there, Rich, their goal was 5 yards on first down, and Rice is only averaging 2.7. You can't win a football game running an option offense only averaging 2.7 yards on first down. It limits your offense, limits your offensive situations of what you can do, whether throwing the football or running short runs.
The passing yardage, 164 for Michigan, split between Tom Brady, 89 yards, and Drew Hensen, 75 yards. Gino, who plays in the second half?
I think you have to go back to Brady. That's exactly what Carr did. Brady started. Hensen came in the second quarter. Brady's going to come in third, and I believe Hensen will play the fourth.
Let's go down below quickly. Don McPherson.
Rich, I talked to a very pensive Coach Hatfield who said they have to run option football. The defense is playing well, but he really wants his option game to pick up the pace. On the other side of the ball, Coach Carr wants to cut down the mistakes on special teams, and he wants to dominate up front. He really wants his team to run the football. He said he made some blocking adjustments up front. They're going to run the football in the second half.
Thanks, John. Ronald Bellamy is deep. The Rice Owls finally get to kick a ball off. Bellamy a yard deep to the 23-yard line. Gino Torretta, there was a turning point in this football game. 3-0 Michigan on top. Diallo Johnson returning a punt at his own 30. Michigan got a huge break.
Huge break. Not only because of not getting the ball, Rice not getting the ball, but that's field position for an option football team.
And then Drew Hensen took over, sneaking it in from a yard, and then hitting David Terrell from 14 yards out. And that's how Michigan stretched their lead to 20-0. And the Rice Owls will watch Tom Brady take the snap, and he'll give it to Anthony Thomas. So Thomas is back in. He had 15 carries in the first half. Brady's numbers very solid.
but as we listen to Don McPherson, Lloyd Carr wants to establish the line of scrimmage. Look for him to run the football. Have his first team offensive line go out, run the ball, get a score, and maybe come out of the ball game.
Thomas behind Shea. Brady for Thomas. To the 28-yard line. It'll bring up 3rd down and about 5. Dan Dawson made the stop.
The Rice secondary is playing a pretty good ball game, but when you give a Division I college quarterback at a major university like Michigan all the time in the world to throw like that, he's going to find someone open. The zones are going to break down at some point in time. They're just covering areas, not covering mans.
3rd down 5. To the sidelines, dropped. Gorgeous pass. Diallo Johnson, the intended receiver.
There was good coverage, though, even, Rich. Like I said, the Rice secondary is playing very well, and they're giving their offense all the opportunities in the world, but the secondary here, in the little out route, he's covered. That was a nice throw by Brady there. Nice throw and catch. Ball should have been caught.
Brady showing some frustration. And Rice on the return, Jason Hebert. First punt by Corey Sargent of the day, 37 yards. Rice has pretty good field position now, Gino, as they'll mark this ball at the Owls' 47-yard line.
And something they haven't had today. Look for Rice only averaging 2.7 yards on 1st down. They have to pick that up in order to score some points in the second half.
Bradley and Tyler behind Richardson. And again, he doesn't pitch, and hello, Tommy Hendricks.
Quarterback Chad Richardson kept the ball. He was downed by Tommy Hendricks.
He had 10 tackles against Notre Dame. He's the leader of that defense, especially in the secondary.
You'll see penetration on the left side of the line here. That voids the pitch by Richardson. Penetration kills an option, as Don McPherson told us earlier in the game. And until they stop the penetration, they're not going to have a lot of success running with the football.
Eisenhower High School in Houston, and obviously Rice in Houston. Hendricks was very anxious to see the Rice Owls today. Inside handoff going nowhere. Tahani Jones and Grady Brooks made the stop on Anthony Griffin. Not to be confused with Archie. A look at Griffin. And all of a sudden the field position is backed up a bit. Rice at their own 39, faced with 3rd down and a bunch. 18. Richardson had lots of time, tucks it under, loose football.
That is
Michigan,
not a fumble.
Who's got, they'll say Michigan has it. Josh Williams, another Houston kid, forced the fumble.
That was the ground. Richardson was reaching the ball out to get a few extra yards of field position for his punt team. Look to me that the ground caused that fumble.
Michigan received a huge break in the first half on a non-call on what was a Michigan fumble. Well, I don't know, Gino.
That one may have been a fumble.
All right. I was waiting for that. I was waiting for that. It looks like the proper call. Brady, a quick throw. Terrell fighting to get the 10 yards, and he's very close. Josh McMillan made the stop. Let's take a look and see if the knee comes down before the ball pops loose.
Hey, Richardson faked the option, drops back. No one's open. He's got all the time in the world. Trying to get a few extra yards for his punt team. And Williams, you can't really tell from that angle. But I think the umpire's right on top of it. He made a good call if he called a fumble.
Brady, lots of time, going deep. Terrell, no. Josh McMillan, the coverage. Not a bad throw, though.
You know what, Rich? With the switching of quarterbacks between Brady and Henson, Brady may be trying to force things, trying to go deep, try to make big plays in order to force Lloyd Carr for him to be the starter of the rest of the season.
When I asked Lloyd Carr yesterday, how do you avoid a quarterback controversy? He said, you know what? This is tougher on the quarterbacks than it is on me, the head coach.
Well, as the head coach, he's got 2 players that he knows can play. Brady won the Big Ten for him last year as a 10-3 record, 11-3 record now as a starter. Henson's got all the talent in the world, could be one of the best to ever come out of Michigan. So I think for him, it's a great situation to be in. But as a player, either one of these guys has the talent to lead this football team. You know, just see how it plays out the rest of the season for Michigan.
Brady, it's deflected and loose and incomplete. Wesley Kubish made the deflection. Dan Dawson in there as well. Dawson sticks his nose in just about everything.
Dawson coming off the edge there, trying to get some good pressure. And Coach Hinshaw, the defensive coordinator for Rice, said he would pick and choose his spots to bring pressure to Brady or Henson. And Michigan, he just really hasn't had that much opportunity because Michigan's making some big plays and keeping Rice on their heels defensively.
On 2nd and 10. Caught. And complete at the 24-yard line. Diallo Johnson held on to that one.
Rich, both Brady and Henson have very strong arms. That throw right there, 10-yard outcut, is one of the hardest throws in football. It's a quick 5-step drop, plant, and throw the ball. You'll see him puts the ball right on the money, right on the sidelines. A Trump throw. This is going to be a tough call for Lloyd Carr.
And this is exactly why Lloyd Carr was unable to make a decision during the preseason practices, because they both played exceptionally well in 2-a-days leading up to the opener against Notre Dame. Anthony Thomas with the carry.
Then it comes down to who plays better in the games. Well, what if they both play great? Does he keep doing the second quarter with Henson, fourth quarter with Henson? Brady starts, plays third quarter.
I got the sense that he wanted to have a decision by the time the Big Ten schedule comes around in 2 weeks.
I believe so, because I think you want your team to rally around one quarterback. Who that'll be, we don't know.
Thomas to the 16. The danger is, what if the quarterback that Carr chooses is not the quarterback the team wants?
Well, then you may have some animosity, but I don't think that's going to happen. I think Lloyd Carr's prepared his team to whatever quarterback he chooses to start. The team is going to rally around him. They're set everywhere else offensively. Their offensive line, the running back in Thomas, Terrell, the wideout, and Knight, they're set everywhere else. So either one of these guys pulling the trigger is going to get the job done for him.
Thomas has the first down. Down to the 11. It doesn't hurt that both quarterbacks can turn around and give the football to that man, Anthony Thomas.
It doesn't hurt at all. Anytime you have a running back like Thomas, he's one of the premier backs in the country. Just a simple little toss, makes one guy miss, steps up inside and gets the first down. That right there shows he's not only fast, but he's tough. He can take a beating, and he will turn upfield and run after a DB and run him over.
Just a junior, 138 yards last week. He's at 72 yards this week, and he's got a big hole on the left side. Thomas is in. Touchdown, Michigan.
The Rice out defense has got to be getting tired here, Rich. I think that was a very impressive drive by Michigan, but it all comes down to the front fours of both teams. The size of Michigan versus the lack thereof size of Rice's front four.
Jeff Delverne for the extra point. And Michigan adds to the lead. Lloyd Carr's team rolling today against Rice, 27-0. Number 5, Michigan on top in Ann Arbor.
ESPN2's presentation of college football is brought to you by the people inspired to build vehicles for your mind and heart. Nissan, Rivet, and by Pert Plus. We're washing hair and changing minds, and it's kind of fun.
Michigan defense has been outstanding, devised by Dr. Evil with help from Mini-Me. He's here today from the Austin Powers movie. Popular guy, that Mini-Me. Rice on the return. And it's Derek Gary. At Michigan Stadium, there are 110,501 people here today. Some of them have taken it upon themselves to greet our cameraman with a shower of marshmallows. That was Todd Marshall. Marshmallows and pennies. And in the Michigan end zone, you can see marshmallows laying around. Hey, we're an innovative network, though. Mark Stillman, our cameraman in front of the student section, well prepared and well protected. Look at the marshmallows, Gino, in the end zone.
Really uncalled for. Folks, you need to root for your football team, not try to hurt anybody throwing hard marshmallows down on the field.
And off to 37, Jamie Tyler.
How do they get them hard?
I believe they just open up the packages and leave them out on their porch for a couple days. Penn State is also known for that. I remember a lot of marshmallows coming out of the stands when I played there.
Jamie Tyler made the stop, or rather up with the carry. So Rice with the football at the 36-yard line.
Another long yardage situation. No yards on first down. This option offense can't be successful.
Richardson. The pitch is to Gingrich. And he goes down. Dwayne Patman. One thing Jim Herman, the defensive coordinator of Michigan, has, Gino, his first 3 games this year are against teams that run some sort of an option.
That will help them in these first 3 games. You see Richardson come down the line. This is where the speed of Michigan's defense just outmatches Rice.
Notre Dame last week, the triple option here with Rice, and then Syracuse next week. The following week, there's no option involved. It's Ron Dane in Wisconsin. Richardson throws it away after he was hit. Rob Renis.
I think they're going to call that a sack, Rich.
Will get credit for a sack. Flag down in the defensive secondary.
The bad part about this option offense is when you do try to throw the football, you only have 1 wide receiver in the game. So Michigan, they only need to cover 1 person as opposed to a tight end and 2 wide receivers and maybe one of the backs out of the backfield. That's why they can't throw the ball very successfully. With only 1 wide receiver on the field, you don't have many options of where places to go with the football.
Defensive holding. That 1 wide receiver was held.
Preliminary indication of a holding penalty against Michigan.
Richardson has good time here to sit in the pocket, but with only 1 option, he turns it and he's basically staring at one choice, and the secondary is going to key his eyes.
You could see the holding. James Whitley, the junior corner, had a hold of Richardson's receiver. There's Jim Herman, the defensive coordinator. 3rd year as the defensive coordinator here, his 10th year at Michigan.
Winner of the 1997 Frank Broyles Award for top assistant coach in college football when they won the national championship.
And his Michigan defense has performed very well today against this triple option. Richardson will keep it to the 42. 27-0, Michigan on top. Next week, it's Syracuse. They run an option, not like this. Don McPherson's down below. Donnie, what are some of the differences Michigan's going to face defensively against Syracuse's option?
Well, the one thing they're going to see right away is they're going to see a much bigger, much faster offensive unit than Rice. And they'll see a different kind of offense as well. It won't be straight wishbone offense or veer option. What they'll see is more straight drop back, a multiple set offense, very few plays, but multiple sets and a lot more passing.
When Lloyd Carr saw Don McPherson in our meetings yesterday, he quickly arranged for a police escort out of Schembechler Hall. He didn't want any secrets going over to Syracuse.
No passing along of the secrets to the Orangemen before their big game next week.
Actually, it was all in good fun. Carr was very candid with us yesterday. And in a very good mood, as you would expect, coming off that huge win over Notre Dame.
Rich, I don't know if he's going to be very happy with his team's performance, though, after this game. The first half, he wanted to be more effective in the red zone. The first half, they had an opportunity to score 35 points, only scored 20. When they outmatch an opponent like this versus Rice, I think they have to be more efficient scoring touchdowns as opposed to field goals inside the red zone.
Rice is just 1 of 8 on 3rd down. Richardson running out of time, and down he goes, and Reynes got him again. This time there's no flag. This time the captain of the Michigan defense gets his sack.
Another coverage sack there. Richardson drops back, has all the time in the world. Whitley on the coverage. With only one wide receiver to throw to, and if he's covered, the option offense is dead. And Rennes picks up a nice coverage sack there.
Rice's gained just 36 yards on 32 carries today. Travis Hale to punt it away, and it's blocked. And loose. And picked up. Marquise Walker blocked it. Michigan will have it at the 4-yard line.
Rich, I just talked about Lloyd Carr maybe not being too happy with his team's performance, but this will put a smile on his face. When you get the 3 phases of the football game, offense, defense, and special teams, your special teams has to make key plays in big football games. And I think last week with Epstein kicking the ball off, having 5 touchbacks out of 7 kickoffs, was huge field position for them versus Notre Dame. Here you see a block punt. Big play, big plays all around.
Brandon Williams picked it up. And it was Walker who gets the block. Tom Brady to Thomas. Touchdown. Anthony Thomas, his 2nd touchdown. Delverne knocks it through. Hail, indeed. Anthony Thomas and Michigan up big. That would be the beginning of Go Blue, I expect. And go they have. The Rice Owls have been very ineffective here. 34-0, Michigan on top. Marquise Walker with the block of that punt, setting up Anthony Thomas's 2nd touchdown.
I think Michigan has to look at this as a good opportunity to get a lot of young players some playing time versus the Rice Owls. They're up by 34 points towards the tail end of the 3rd quarter. Are they going to put their backups in? I'm kind of curious if they put their backup offensive line in with Hensen and Brady, or do they leave the starters in?
is deep. Back to the 25-yard line. Rice will get the football. And we head to the studio. Reese Davis.
Well, it might not be Happy Valley right now. It might be Nervous Valley. After picking off a Penn State pass from Kevin Thompson, they gloves. Rodney English is that field goal in there to tie the game at 10 over on ESPN between Pittsburgh and Penn State. And look at this. UAB has scored on Virginia Tech at 17-10 in Blacksburg. Shades of Temple from a year ago, Rick?
That's right, Reese. That was one of the big games that Frank Beamer's Hokies dropped in a season that they felt could have been very, very special. They beat Alabama in the Music City Bowl. But that loss to Temple was a big one. Michael Vick not playing in that ball game with a sore ankle. Thursday night, Sonny Lubick and the Colorado State Rams head to Provo to take on BYU. 7:30 Eastern. We've already seen Mike Tirico on the sidelines. He'll be there on Thursday. For more, log on to ESPN.com. Part of the Go Network, go.com.
First and 15.
On first down. Out to the 22-yard line.
Ball carried by Anthony Griffin.
Mike Tirico, Kirk Herbstreit, Lee Corso will be there Thursday night for that ball game. New quarterback Corey Evans, the sophomore.
And a transfer from Tennessee that runs a 10-3, 100 meters. Very fast and effective option quarterback. Coach Hatfield told us it's very tough. You have to find a running back that can throw in high school football to come in and run this offense.
Those are just some of the difficulties that Rice has in recruiting. The pitch. And racing out of bounds.
Pitch out to number 26, Leroy Bradley.
The Owls with a nice pickup.
Krakens made the stop.
Evans comes in, rides the fullback down the line. The penetration backs him up. That's exactly what the defense is taught to do versus an option team. Hit the quarterback every play, no matter if he has the ball or not, because towards the latter part of the game, he may get nervous feet, whether it's throwing the ball in the pocket or coming down the line of scrimmage and cause a fumble.
Evans, quarterback draw. Out to the 32-yard line. Victor Hobson made the stop.
Quarterback Corey Evans kept the ball.
Jeremy Bates is the other quarterback for Rice. Last year he injured his knee against Purdue in a ball game in which Rice almost upset the Boilermakers. Evans, the number 3 quarterback. And we may see Bates before the day is done as well.
Number 8, Travis Hale.
We've seen a lot of this guy, Travis Hale. Rice punting again. This one is fumbled, but recovered.
Covered by Bellamy.
Tad Van Pelt covers it up. Michigan on top in Ann Arbor. Number 5 Michigan on top of Rice, 34-0. Rich Waltz, Gino Toretta, Don McPherson. Drew Hensen is back in. There's a throw to Aaron Shea, the big fullback, who may be a tight end at the next level. He's an excellent pass receiver, and at 6'5", 251, he has tight end size and speed.
The thing I like about that play, though, Henson sees the pressure. Rice comes up in a blitz, finds the open man, and Shea wasn't covered in the flat. Big completion there on a little short pass.
B.J. Askew getting the carry for Michigan, and Askew is inside the 40, down to the 37-yard line. 13 yards on the pickup. Travis Ortega with the stop.
I think the Rice-Al defense is just wore out right now. They're used to playing 15 to 20 minutes of ball game with the offensive Rice. If they can control it 35 to 40 minutes a game, the other team only has 20 minutes to be on the field. That's not happening today.
Hensen on 1st and 10. Askew, big hit by Joe Bob Thompson, but Askew bounced right off of him. Hebert and Ortega finally made the stop. There's Joe Bob. Sophomore out of Dangerfield, Texas. One of the tough things for Rice defensively is your time of possession.
They lead in time of possession, but that is not their goal. Was 35 to 40 minutes this game, and they don't have enough time left to make that up, especially 34 points.
2nd down and 10. Hensen to the air for the sidelines, and it's incomplete. Don't feel too sorry for defensive coordinators that have to prepare for the Rice offense. You should feel sorry for the defensive coordinator for Rice, Roger Hinshaw, because simulating other teams' offenses are very difficult for Rice. They don't have the personnel to, say, simulate what a Michigan does offensively. They don't have a drop-back quarterback in their program, and it's difficult to simulate the speed, the quickness, and the accuracy of a quarterback week in and week out. Caught by Marquise Walker. Flag goes down, and possibly a late hit.
It's very difficult for Rice to simulate a Michigan offense because in their offense, they essentially have 4 running backs in the backfield. Just Richardson or the quarterback, whoever it is, or Evans, they could throw the ball. They really have 4 tailbacks in the backfield in the game at all times. So to simulate a passing attack like Michigan, very, very tough.
The flag is on Kenny Smith, it looks like. There's the catch by Walker. Wasn't much of a late hit. I mean, it was late, but it wasn't much of a hit.
It looked like Kenny Smith tried to pull back. Receiver tries to come back in at the end. I don't know. I think in a ball game like this, 34 to nothing, I think a no call is a good call.
Is this the last series for Hensen? On the pitch, it's Askew, and he's down to the 12.
I think so. I think you give both your starters, if we can call them both starters, Brady and Hensen, a chance to come out. They drive right down the field. If Hensen has a chance to score, it'll be 41-0 going to the 4th quarter. You have to start getting your backups playing time because depth at top schools is the reason these schools are the tops in the country, because their backups are almost as good as their starters.
On 2nd and 6. Askew again. This time he's tripped up. Rashard Pittman
35
made the stop.
Carry. Tackled by Jason Hebert, Rashard Pittman. Attention please, Rick
Take your pick.
And Craig Miller.
Brady's numbers look more impressive, but I think the offense when Hensen was in there was a little bit more settled and moved the ball. They didn't have a lot of penalties against them. But really, both of them have been very effective. That's a tough decision for Coach Carr.
Askew to the 14. Pittman made the stop again. And that will be the final snap of the 3rd quarter.
Well, now at the 18-yard line, it's 4th down 7.
Michigan, number 5 in the country, and playing like it today. On top of Rice, 34-0.
At the end of the 3rd quarter.
Michigan on top of Rice, 34-0. That would not be an Akron zip either. Jeff Delverne on for the field goal attempt at 30 yards. He's hit twice today, 24 and 38. Add that one to the books. This kid who got the scholarship on Monday, Lloyd Carr said he walked on. He had a chance to go to other schools, but he wanted to kick at Michigan. So he walks on He makes the team. He hits 4 field goals against Notre Dame. And on Monday, much to the delight of the entire team, he gets his scholarship. He's a very popular guy amongst the team. One of the reasons why, he is a great imitator of men. He does a dead-on Lloyd Carr.
And it's not behind his back. Lloyd has seen it.
Yeah. College football tonight on the Deuce. South Carolina against number 12 Georgia. That's at 5 Eastern. Lou Holtz back in action. And then number 23 Texas against Rutgers. That's at 8 Eastern tonight on the Deuce. For more, log on to ESPN.com, part of the Go Network. Go.com. There's Del Verne. The players we talked to said he does a great Lloyd Carr. We asked him if he did Bo Schembechler, and they looked at each other and said, no one would dare imitate Bo Schembechler.
He is the
that one's off limits.
The living legend here in Michigan. And can you blame him not wanting to come here and kick the football? This is a great place, great school, fun atmosphere.
Phil Brabb's getting a chance to kick the football. Sean White out to the 25-yard line.
Taken by number 25, Sean White.
Rich, I don't know if I necessarily agree with Lloyd Carr to kick the field goal on that last drive. I mean, Rice has only been able to put up 63 yards of total offense. Can that be classified as running up the score or no?
No, it's 3 points. I think you still have to play the game in the context of field position.
Number 5, Chad Richardson, backup quarterback for Rice.
Of course, you mix in a few BCS formulas, and 3 points doesn't hurt. So I don't think it helps you that much in the big picture. Now, had he gone for it on 4th down, Gino, I think we would have cause for alarm. How's that?
I think you can look at it both ways, to tell you the truth. I really do.
We can agree to disagree, Gino.
But I think with the BCS, I really didn't think about that. I think the margin of victory comes into play towards the end of the season. If it comes down between them and another team in the top 5 or top 2, maybe that's why he went for the field goal there.
Jamie Tyler. I think also he wants Del Verne to keep getting experience. He likes the fact that Del Verne is now 7 of 8 on the season as a kicker. Richardson back in the ball game, and he's out across the 35 to the 36-yard line. James Whitley made the stop. Let's head to the studio at Reese Davis. Reese?
Rich, you would think there would be little reason to care about the Angels and Twins, but Eric Milton throws a no-hitter against the Angels. It's the 3rd no-hitter of the season. Jose Jimenez and David Cone had the other one. So Milton, 13 strikeouts, and the no-hitter in this one. And Sammy Sosa wondering if he can hit 60. Not yet. He's 1 for 2 with a single, still sitting on 59, trying to become the 2nd guy to have 2 60-home-run seasons.
Thanks, Reese. 37-0 here. Richardson's throw is a wobbler, and it's picked off. Cato June. And June is down to the 17-yard line. Everyone getting in on the act right now for the Wolverines.
Cato June, just a situation being in the right place at the right time. Richardson drops back to pass, gets pressure, gets hit as he delivers the football by Petrozello. This is just the talent and the depth that the Michigan defense has. They have the depth to put their backups in and still get pressure on the quarterback. This is why the University of Michigan is a top 5 ball club, is because of the depth and because of the top level of skill.
Dave Petrozello.
Quarterback Drew Hensen
On the carry for Michigan, Walter Cross. Drew Hensen still in the ball game. You saw the note that Eric Milton has thrown a no-hitter for the Twins. You're looking at what many people feel is the future 3rd baseman for the Yankees. You know, not to be outdone, Tom Brady was a catcher in high school. He was an 18th round pick. are the Montreal Expos. Cross to the 16.
That's why I think it's such a big decision and a tough decision by Lloyd Carr. Both of these players are great athletes, great competitors, and I don't think they're going to lose either way, depending on what decision Lloyd makes on who's going to start for this ball club. I think they're confident in Brady. They won the Big Ten last year with him, but I think they realize the ability of Hensen and how young he is and how much better he can become over the years.
Next 2 weeks are big ones.
Now back at the 17, 3rd and 10.
For this Michigan team. Hensen onto the outside. Kirk Mondros to the 6-yard line.
Pass is complete. Hensen to Kirk Mondros, number 49.
Another good decision by Hensen there, Rich. Rice brings the pressure, voids the zone, not necessarily playing man coverage behind the blitz, playing zone. Hensen takes advantage of it and hits the fullback out of the backfield.
Gino, here's the situation we were talking about. Now it's 4th down and short. Michigan, I don't believe, is running it by going for it here. They're staying within the context of the game. Hensen straight ahead.
True, I just didn't think on the last drive, I don't think 3 points is going to make a difference either way. That's why I just threw that out, because I know how the media likes to put pressure on coaches. Hey, are they running up the score? But with BCS, with the score and the differential, the amount of points you score every week, that becomes a factor. Every one of these little field goals towards the end of the game, you get in the tight ball games.
Gino, I think if you ask coaches throughout the country last year and even this year, if 3 points works in the BCS, they might scratch their head and say, I don't know, because that BCS formula is, they're still trying to figure that out, most of the coaches.
They are.
And broadcasters.
It's early to talk about that, but, you know, if points comes into play, Carr has to be thinking, hey, we scored 3 more points here. You know, it bodes well for our team later on the season. If we get some 10-3 ball games or 10-7 ball games that the Big Ten is traditionally known for having, not high-scoring contests, well, maybe that 3 points does come into play.
Rice holds. Ken Hatfield's Owls will try to move the football. The Owls are in a precarious situation right now in the WAC conference. These last 2 weeks, rumors abound that TCU and SMU, 2 WAC partners, may be entertaining offers from Conference USA. Leroy Bradley, Jamie Tyler in the backfield. And it's Tyler. 37-0 Michigan on top. Our Olive Garden storyline, complete with breadsticks. Michigan, a 347 yards. Rice is 75. 7 of 11 possessions. Michigan has put points on the board. Gino, something you talked about, the first play for Rice has not gone well.
No, they're only averaging a little over 2 yards a carry, and the turnovers. They've already had 3 turnovers and a block punt. Running the option, you have to have 0 turnovers, hold on the ball 35, 40 minutes of ball game, and have a shot of winning.
Richardson bounces off 1 tackle, and he's out to the 16-yard line. What about the WAC, Gino Coretta? If SMU and TCU were to jump to Conference USA, Rice will have been jilted for the 2nd time in about 6 years. They were when the Southwest Conference kind of dissolved, and now it looks like the WAC may take another hit.
I think so. I think there's a lot of moving around within conference. I know the University of Miami's been talked about, rumored going to the ACC. You have the TCU SMU situation moving out of the WAC. You have Colorado State BYU moving to the Mountain West in a new conference. I think in the next few years, the NC2A I believe has a lot of decisions to make over these conference situations and whether they're going to step in and stop all the moving around.
Ken Hatfield did tell us yesterday that Rice University is committed to 2 more seasons in the Western Athletic Conference. After that, he said they'll reevaluate their situation. But the WAC has got a lot of teams lined up to jump to the WAC as well. There are about 7 or 8 teams that would like to join that conference. 4th down and 1, and Rice is going for it on their own 12. Or at least they're trying to draw Michigan offside. And it doesn't work. And it will cost them 5 yards in a difficult position to punt.
Rich, everybody wants to be in a conference such as the Big Ten, such as the Pac-10. I mean, the top conferences where 4, 5, 6-year schools are going, the SEC. You know, conferences like that, they're getting a lot of television games. I think that's what every university's goal is. But all the moving around, I mean, college football has almost come down to a little bit of free agency that you see in pro sports. And the bad thing about that is the rivalries change as soon as you go in and out of a conference. And I don't think that's good, you know, not only for the school, but for the fans rooting for the school.
Tad Van Pelt watches it land out of bounds. The Rice Owls struggling with the Wolverines. That, my friends, is an understatement.
ESPN2's presentation of college football is brought to you by Killian's Irish Red, which reminds you one look says a lot. And by the new Lincoln LS. Lincoln, American luxury.
Big blue sky over Ann Arbor. Big blue is rolled here as Michigan continues to march. Drew Hensen continues on. Charles Drake with the catch.
Coach Carr must be trying to get Hensen some more snaps and some more reps. He's comfortable with the experience factor of Brady, but I think he's just trying to get Hensen a few more snaps, a few different looks at the defense, maybe run a few special situational plays.
Not many of those 110,000 have headed for the exits. Charles Drake made the stop. Let's head back to the studios in Reese Davis. Reese?
All right, Rich. In Happy Valley, it was tied at 10 early in the fourth quarter. Penn State doing it on the ground. Eric McCoo dancing in there from the 7. The team swapped interceptions. Nigel Neal of Pitt made a great one to snuff out a Penn State drive deep in Pittsburgh territory. That game 17-10. In West Virginia, Miami, Travis Prentice has just scored. Redhawks hanging around down 8.
Travis Prentice is a very good running back. A floater that is incomplete. Ronald Bellamy was the intended receiver.
Henson rushed that pass a little bit. He had his receiver wide open, had all the time in the world. As a quarterback, when you drop back and you see coverage break down like this and you know your receiver is going to be wide open, those are almost the tougher throws, because then you try to aim it and throw it in a perfect spot because you know your receiver is going to be wide open. I think that's what Henson did there.
Another quick kick. It's the second quick kick we've seen Henson pull off. This one not nearly as successful.
Looked like it was blocked there, Rich.
As the first. We'll take a timeout. Michigan on top of Rice. Back after this. Michigan 37, Rice 0. 8:14 left in the ball game. Corey Evans in at quarterback, and on the draw, Evans is out to the 23-yard line. Every week we have an opportunity to go behind the scenes on Donnie Mack's backstage pass. Don McPherson. Donnie?
They call this place the Big House, but if you're driving by on Stadium Drive, you may just miss it. From the outside, it's not very big at all. You see, there are only 24 rows built above ground. And for a guy like me who's afraid of heights, it's a great place to watch from the top of the stadium.
But it's a long way down when you're inside. On 2nd and 7. Evans. And Evans lost the football. And it looks like Rice will get it back. They will. Flag down? Maybe not. There were a lot of things falling down there at the 32-yard line. No penalty.
Evans is showing us exactly why Coach Hatfield is putting him as the backfield to Richardson. Unfortunately, he turns over the ball here, but he makes a nice play. Rice hasn't had a lot of a lot of opportunities. They've only had 7 plays over 5 yards all day and only 2 over 10 yards. So anytime you can pick up yardage like that, it's a positive for your offense.
Evans. And he's dropped at the 34-yard line. Larry Foote made the stop for Michigan. Well, we talked about running quarterbacks. Here's a look at the breakdown for our running quarterbacks. Tom McPherson at Syracuse, over 1,200 yards, 18 touchdowns. He ran that offense effectively, efficiently. Gino Torretta was rarely called upon to carry the load.
Hey, Rich, out of all the great quarterbacks in Miami, though, I will tell you this. I'm the only guy that ended there with positive yards rushing. So there's something to be said for that, too.
To the 34-yard line. Did you ever run an option play in your days there with either Jimmy Johnson or Dennis Erickson?
Unfortunately, I ran one speed option my redshirt freshman year against Florida State. And I remember Coach Erickson, we were just about to score, and he said, "You get in trouble, pitch the ball." As soon as I took the snap, it was the offensive line really didn't know the blocking too well, and I was in trouble. So I pitched the ball, and we lost a few yards.
Donnie?
I think the problem, Gino, down in Miami, you probably just get a little too hot down there. You're a little too lethargic. You don't want to run around. We had to run around a lot in Syracuse just to stay warm.
Even in the Carrier Dome.
We threw the ball to win football games, Donnie Mack. You had to do both.
Jeremy Bates is in at quarterback for Rice, and Bates is clobbered at the 37-yard line. No quarterback controversy here on this crew, Reese Davis. How about you?
Well, we have guys who think they can play quarterback on our team. Houston and Alabama going at it. Andrews out, part of a 2-quarterback system, finding a wide open Freddie Millen. Somebody blew a coverage. Tide missed the extra point, though, so it's 23-10 in the third.
37-0. Michigan on top of Rice. I don't think the score even indicates the lopsidedness of what's happened on the field, Gino.
It really doesn't. I was very impressed with Rice in the first quarter and the first half. The defensively, they mixed up the ball game a lot, mixed up the coverages a lot, but only gave up 3 points. But now the game's just got out of hand because of the depth of Michigan.
Ken Hatfield and Rice down right now with 5:18 left. Number 5 Michigan on top of Rice, 37-0. Heck, those with jerseys on may get into this game. Travis Hale. Now to the 20-yard line. Julius Curry on the return. Coming up on ABC in about a half an hour, number 21 Notre Dame against number 16 Purdue. The California Golden Bears against the Cornhuskers of Nebraska. And number 19 Virginia against Clemson. It's on ABC. Check your local listings at 3:30 Eastern. When we're done, college football today presented by J.P. Morgan. Reese Davis, Rodney Gilmore, John McAvick. Jason Kapsner is in at quarterback, and he lights it up. A catch, a sliding catch at the 18-yard line by Tyrese Butler. The officials, though, are going to come and wave it off. The offside official came from across the field to say that Butler dropped the ball. Kapsner's not happy about it.
This is a tough throw to come from the sidelines. You haven't played all day and throw what you call a bang eight, a tough post route. You have to throw it in between linebackers, and you have to throw that. You have to throw that perfect. You have to lead your guy and throw it over the linebacker. Tough throw to come off the bench and throw that first pass.
Looked like a tremendous catch by Butler. Kapsner on the draw. B.J. Askew.
All carried by B.J. Askew.
To the 28-yard line. So Kapsner takes over on a day where we saw Tom Brady and Drew Hensen both play very well. Kapsner's a big kid.
Third down, 8.
He's a junior. Quick throw, And a catch. And drop.
Capsters pass intended for Askew, incomplete.
Askew, the intended receiver.
Josh McMillan defending.
It's disappointing for Michigan because I think Brady and Henson, they want Kapsner to get in there and get some playing time, make some first downs, and I think Lloyd Carr does it. The kid's a senior, he's been here 5 years. It's always good as a starting quarterback when you can let your backup play and get a lot of yards.
Rice just ran into the punter.
So he'll have another chance.
Corey Sargent went down. And the return is out to the 29-yard line. Jason Hebert. And this one's coming back. Kenny Smith with hands on hips.
Running into the kicker on the defense. It's a 5-yard penalty that is declined. First down, Rice.
So Rice will get the football. And it sits at the 29-yard line. Rice is 29. The Owls out of the WAC, having a rough day in Ann Arbor. Michigan on top, 37-0. The Owls of Rice with the football. And that ball is on the ground. Corey Evans, the quarterback, lost the handle.
I think that shows right there the difficulty in running the veer options. I think Evans wanted to keep the ball, run down the line of scrimmage. Right? The fullback thought he was giving it to him and tried to take the ball from him. Hence the ball on the ground, almost a turnover.
Second down.
It doesn't get much easier for this Rice team. They have to go to Texas next week. In fact, Rice has just 4 home games this year. Evans keeps it. And Evans breaks loose. He can run.
There's his speed.
There he goes. Well, wait a minute. He stepped out of bounds.
Evans carry.
Evans. They'll mark it just inside Michigan territory. I thought he was gone.
This Evans is an exciting player. Fakes the pitch. That's the difficulty of the option. If you can get on the outside and force the defender's hand, will you have the option to pitch off one of their defenders? And Rice, with the penetration that Michigan hadn't had that opportunity too often.
Brandon Williams bumped him enough that he did step out of bounds. Good call by the officials. The Owls keep it on the ground. The Rice Owls play in the Western Athletic Conference, and once they get into WAC play, things look a little easier for them, but they've opened at Texas, at Michigan, or rather at Houston, at Michigan, at Texas. They've got Navy, and then they're back on the road. 4 home games, Gino.
That's tough. That's a tough schedule. You'd like to at least have 6 home games on your schedule to play in your own atmosphere. You don't have to travel, those sorts of things. It's going to be a long season for Rice.
Evans inside the 40 to the 38. Michigan's schedule, it started with Notre Dame, continued here with Rice, at Syracuse, at number 8 Wisconsin, number 16 Purdue comes in, and then Michigan State on the road.
And what does Michigan do with their quarterback situation after that game at Syracuse? Does Lloyd Carr decide to go with Henson or Brady, or does he keep the rotation going?
It's hard at the start, and it's difficult at the end with Penn State and Ohio State on that schedule. I don't know. I mean, it will be interesting to see what happens next week at Syracuse as well. Evans looks pretty good running this option. And he's down to the 20-yard line.
The thing you got to like about Rice is they haven't given up. Even though they're down 37 points and they're going to lose this football game, Evans is coming out and trying to make some big plays for his team, and that is the sign of a well-coached team. You can't ever give up in a football game, no matter how bad you're getting beat, things like that. There's always things to work on and aspects of the game to get better, because they have a lot of games left on their season. The more they improve now is going to help them out down the road.
Tell you what, this Michigan crowd, this Michigan team does not want Rice in the end zone, and Evans fumbles the snap and falls on it.
Fumble on the snap covered by the quarterback, Corey Evans.
Rich, going back to Hensen and Brady, I don't think it's a bad call either. Either way, however, Lloyd Carr, I think both of them are very good players. Hensen accounted for 20 points today. Brady accounted for 17. It's really a toss-up. I think they both played well. I think it showed. He told us the competition was very close in the summer. Last spring it was very close. And even in games it's very close. Maybe they keep doing the rotations the rest of the season.
37-0, Michigan on top. The season premiere of ESPN Sunday Night Football. The Cleveland Browns are back in Cleveland. They'll host Pittsburgh at 8:15 Eastern. Then on ABC's Monday Night Football, the Dolphins and the Broncos, and the starting quarterback for the Broncos is Brian Griese. And of course, the story of Griese here at Michigan, when he was a junior, he was involved in a quarterback competition and didn't get to start until he was a senior. Lloyd Carr told us something interesting, Gino, talking about the battle between Griese and Dreisbach. He said he wished, in hindsight, he had played Griese more when he was a junior.
And I think that comes down to you want two experienced quarterbacks on your football team. He had Dreisbach and he had Griese backing him up. All Griese wanted was a few series a game to get the experience, and I think Lloyd Carr has learned from that. What he does from here, we'll have to see for the rest of the season.
Evans into the end zone. Deflected and incomplete. Gilbert Okoronkwo, the intended receiver. And Tate Shansky broke it up. College football today coming up after this one, presented by J.P. Morgan, Reese Davis, Rodney Gilmore, John Makovic.
Michigan's in a great situation to have two quarterbacks as talented as this. So, like I said, I don't think it's a bad situation either way, depending on which quarterback they go to or decide to keep rotating quarterbacks.
Evans to the 17-yard line.
Quarterback Corey Evans carried. Tackled by Tate Shansky. Andy now at the 16.
And the Rice Owls are going to try to break the shutout. They're going to try to get on the board and kick a field goal. Derek Crabtree, their field goal kicker, is on. 33 yards on the attempt. This is his first attempt this year. And he got it.
The kick is good. Michigan 37, Rice 3.
Crabtree, the sophomore out of Duncanville, Texas, gives Rice its first 3 points of the ball game.
And Evans has come in and showed he can make plays. That's why Coach Hatfield was so excited about getting him into the ball game. I think he wishes it would have been under a little bit different circumstances than it happened today. But as we go through the season and as Rice goes through the season, do they look to play Evans more?
Now, wait a minute. You're trying to start another quarterback situation on a totally different campus, Gino.
I'm just trying to pick out the positives for Rice. I think Evans has been a bright spot here today.
And you're doing a fine job of it. Next Saturday, we're taking the show to Maryland on Vanderlinden, and Maryland will host West Virginia, noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific, and then Wake Forest takes on number 19 Virginia at 7 Eastern. It's next Saturday on ESPN2. For more, log on to ESPN.com, part of the Go Network, go.com.
Kicking off for Rice is number 10, Scott.
Drew Hensen and Tom Brady.
With a little ice on his shoulder, protecting his arm, not only for football, but for baseball. Good precautionary measure to stay healthy for the rest of the season.
Bellamy. And Bellamy is out to the 24-yard line. Tough day for both those gentlemen. Chad Richardson, the starting quarterback, the man in the red shirt, David Lee, the offensive coordinator for the Owls.
North at the 24-yard line, 1st and 10, Michigan.
College football today in about 26 seconds. Approximately. 37-3, Michigan on top.
13, Jason Kapsner.
Kapsner will take the final snap. Some spirited running by Charles Drake. Joe Bob Thompson made the stop. Lloyd Carr still coaching him. Number 5, Michigan has hammered Rice. 37-3, the final score for our entire ESPN 2 crew. For Don McPherson and Gino Toretta, I'm Rich Waltz. We'll send you to college football today after another great moment from ESPN's past 20 years. Goodbye from Ann Arbor.
This has been a presentation of ESPN, proud to celebrate another moment from our first 20 years. For more, log on to ESPN.com, part of the Go Network. Go.com. ESPN.
Here in Texas.